from the legends of memory and storage. Crucial brings you the ultimate performance in gaming. Legendary products. Precision engineered. For speed and stability. Crucial ballistics.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to LG Ultragear presents Tec Gauntlet Season 3, powered by Crucial. Our apparel partner is 6x6, accessories partner Cosmic Byte, and our esports partner Aimlab. We are about to witness some really cool games today as we approach the penultimate stage of the Gauntlet Season 3. Today, we're going to be having the lower bracket finals, and we will find out who the two finalists are. So, without further ado, let's take a look at all the games that we have in store for you today. First one is going to be Enigma versus Team Exploit. And then later on, we have True Rippers versus Team Valor.
Yeah, absolutely. Both the games, they are going to be really, really tight grips. I mean, you look at all four lineups, you know exactly that there are going to be four contenders for the finals. And I mean, it's really easy to say that this team kind of looks stronger, this team looks weaker on paper. But when we actually get into the battlegrounds, when we actually move into the maps and uh, where that battle exactly happens, I'm pretty sure every one of those players, every one of those 10 players on the server would want to have themselves in the finals, and I'm pretty sure they're going to give their every single ounce of breath, blood, and sweat to win today's matches.
Yeah, and there is a lot at stake now. The finals themselves are at stake. Guys, let's take a look at the brackets and see what the tournament holds for us, what these teams have been through up until now, and what lies ahead for them. Velocity versus EXO. This was going to be the winners bracket finale. Velocity was able to beat Enigma to get here. EXO beat True Rippers, and both these teams are up there. One of them will enter the grand finals. But all the matches today are from the lower bracket.
Yeah.
Loss over here means elimination. That means your journey in the gauntlet will come to an end. And everything that you've worked for so hard up until now, a month of hard work will go away. That will come to an end. The journey will stop. True Rippers versus Team Valor, one of them will go forward in the 8 p.m. game today. And right now we have Enigma versus Exploit. Enigma, obviously, they lost to Team Velocity just yesterday. It was a close game. The first map split from Enigma Gaming went pretty well for them, but later on they were struggling.
Yeah.
Team Exploit, on the other hand, they lost pretty early to True Rippers. And since then, they have been in the lower bracket. The first opponent that they faced in the lower bracket was Weird Esports. And sure, a 2-0 scoreline seems pretty neat. But when you hear the fact that Exploit was able to beat Weird Esports 13-0 on Ascent, that is what scares you. That is what gives you the shivers. So both the teams have proven time and over again that they have what it takes to get the killing edge. But who's gonna come out on top? We'll find out soon.
Exactly. We'll have a look at the MVP standings right next up to see who amongst all of the fraggers that we have seen stands on top. No surprises there, of course, Deathmaker, one of the best players in the country. In the region, of course, is right there at the number one spot. KDA ratio, just look at that number, 413, 236 and 51. An average combat score, an average, mind you, in double quotes, is 310. An MVP stand, I mean, he's got 14 MVPs for himself, which is crazy. It's almost a double of Paradoxes. But I feel like it kind of works differently, so I'm not going to compare Deathmaker and Paradox at this point. Paradox, of course, has a lot more kills. He has like 437, the highest fragger in the season's Gauntlet. 437 coupled with 267 ACS, which is again pretty decent, and 8 MVP standings. Strix is there, but again, Strix is not playing anymore. He didn't qualify for the playoffs. SATUL didn't, and that is one of the reasons why I feel like Sai will have an opportunity to get there. Of course, he is going to be playing Velocity next, so Sai versus Deathmaker showdown is going to happen pretty soon. We're going to find out if Sai can actually overcome Strix's standing and actually get to the number 3 position. But talking about today's games, I feel like we've got some star fraggers as well. Enigma versus True Rippers, we don't really have any of those players in the top 4, but I'm pretty sure when those guys step on the battlegrounds, they're gonna go show some potential that all right, we can actually be in this lineup. I mean, I feel like Shooter should be in this position as well, coupled up with Raw Fuel. I'm pretty sure they are in the top 10, not probably in the top 4, but yeah, I mean, if you look at the fragging potential from both these two teams, all of them deserve to be in that MVP standings.
Yeah, they definitely do. We're approaching the final stages, and all the teams who've been here have always proven themselves, already done so 1,000 times over, and stands to reason that they are one of the best players in the region. But speaking of the best players, let's take a look at the first team today, and some of the best players in the country are in this one. Let's take a look at Enigma Gaming. And of course, over here we have Captain Antidote, followed by Hika, RBK, and his trusty teammates Rofuel and Rexy.
Yeah, I mean, this lineup Crips requires no introduction, right? You look at Raw Fuel, you know this man is gonna frag his brains out. You look at Rexy, you know that this man can be a clutch minister for the team. RVK, every time I look at this man, every time I read his name, I just remember one thing, Crips, and that's gonna be the Sheriff headshots. When he picks up that Sheriff, when he picks up that that hand cannon that screams confidence, it's like, hey bro, come next day, because today you stand no chance. And that is exactly what RVK will, that is exactly what RVK excels at. Also pretty sure that his Sentinel role is going to be a key thing for Enigma Gaming today. I feel like Team Exploit, they're one of the most aggressive teams in the region. So for Enigma Gaming, their defenses have to be really tight, and those defenses should not have any chinks in the armor. Also, there's going to be one important player, that's going to be Hika. I feel like he kind of bonds the entire team together, holds them like an anchor, and always performs when it's needed. This entire unit has been a very high performing unit overall, and Enigma Gaming, they've gone from strength to strength, and they're taking very huge strides in the community as an overall team, and pretty sure they are in the top 3 teams in the country. But can they actually make it to the big stage? Can they actually make it to the big finals of the Gauntlet and win the competition overall? That is going to be a question. But for that, they need to beat Team Exploit today, whom we're going to look right now.
Yeah, Team Exploit will be coming up on your screens pretty soon, but we have someone who needs a little bit of special attention, and that person is none other than the shining star of Team Enigma. Keep in mind that aside from the shining star, there are other players and other people that you should be aware about in the Enigma roster. Very recently, they announced the signing of their new coach, YB, from Germany. Yep, that's right. This is the same YB who used to coach Optic India. This is the same YB who's basically turned Mazel, Antidote, Ace into the people that they are today, and he's been paramount in their success. But unfortunately, RVK hasn't had the chance to work with YB yet. RVK, on the other hand, is already showing some promise. This man started from CSGO. He was not one of the most prominent players in the CSGO scene. He was always lurking around in the underbelly. But now, as he enters Valorant, this guy shines. His Sheriff one taps are always a pleasure to watch. His ability to play as a sentinel and as a controller makes him the ultimate backbone of the team. He stays at the back lines and protects everyone and everything. And now that YB has entered Enigma as well, I am really excited to see what RBK becomes in the future.
Exactly. Also, if you look at the statistics, I feel like the KDA kind of explains itself, right? You look at
Hmm.
RVK, he is being shown as a Viper in this one, but of course, he is also known for his Cypher and cages. And I'm pretty sure the Sentinel role of RVK is going to be something to talk about. Like, you can talk about days and days about that, how he actually helps the team and the back lines, and he actually helps the defenses really well. But something which is also a very interesting note about RVK is that sometimes he's also their primary fragger. When this team needs him the most, he can also come up with eco thrifty rounds, which nobody expects. Also, his clutch potential is paramount. Like, when you look at him, he's probably going to be the safest players to bet on. All right, this man is going to put out a clutch with an average combat score of 195. I feel like that is probably one of the highest for a controller role, for a sentinel role player. And I feel like RVK is definitely going to be one of the key players for Enigma Gaming for this game that is going to be up next against Team Exploit. Team Exploit, talking about them, we'll have their lineup right in front of you guys, and let's just wait and watch how this Pakistani team has completely shaken up the Indian Valorant region. Their performances have been absolutely terrifying, and I feel like this is going to be one opportunity for them to establish themselves one of the best in this region as well. You look at HSB, you look at Shooter, you look at King, you look at Soulmate. Every one of these players, they are so well bonded. I feel like Team Exploit, they kind of rely a little too much on Shooter services to get them frags. But even if Shooter isn't there, they've got subs in the form of Pokemon who can actually fill in those shoes and frag the brains out of the opponent team. Crips, what are your thoughts about Team Exploit? Because for me, I feel like they're one of my favorites, and I just want them to go out in action. But this game is going to be really interesting, because Enigma Gaming is probably one of the biggest competitors that I can actually pitch against Team Exploit. So what are your thoughts?
I feel like this is a very young, very explosive roster full of raw individual talent. And when they come together as a team, they are almost unstoppable. It's like a bullet train heading in your direction at 290 miles an hour with no brakes within reach. That's what Team Exploited. They feel unstoppable when they're in the groove. Although they are kind of a momentum heavy team, we have noticed in their previous matches against True Rippers, if you stop them in their tracks, it becomes a little difficult for them to adapt and overcome. But once they do so, and once they come up with the perfect solution to all their problems, they keep on repeating it again and again until you find a way to stop them. And it's not easy to counter team exploits. So they are a pretty rigid team that way.
Yeah.
They don't adapt that easily, but it's
Yeah,
not difficult to adapt to them either. You can always predict what Team Exploit will do, but that doesn't mean that you can stop what they're doing. You
exactly.
can see the hit coming from a mile away, but you will not be able to block them. You will not be able to stop them. And that's just how dominant they are. They declare what they're going to do quite openly, but what are you going to do about it? You're going to have to challenge them head on in order to stop their exploit, pun intended.
Exactly. I mean, it's very interesting to know the Team Exploit, the game against Two Rippers, was so interesting because Team Exploit, they were at a lead on the map of Icebox, if I remember, 10-0 against Team True Rippers. And then True Rippers made a comeback from that position. And when you mentioned like nobody has the potential to stop them, I felt it because like Shura was peeking the same angle time and time and time again, but nobody dared to peek him. And if they did, they were sent back to their graves, and that is basically spawned in the next round. And I feel like this is one of their true potential. I feel like you can definitely predict this team engine that is coming your way, but can you actually stop them? And if you do manage to stop them, at what cost? Do you lose players in the process? Do you lose man in the process? Do you lose map control in the process? I feel like there's a lot that we can talk about, but the overarching storyline that we can build from the Team Exploit versus Enigma game is basically that one is going to be a steam engine, one is going to be a calm and collected car sedan vehicle who can actually navigate their way to their destination. One trusts speed, one trusts direction. Enigma Gaming is a side that can actually change their process on the trot, like on the go. They can actually change their approach to a particular game. They can play aggressive, they can also play really passive, and they can change their strategies. But Team Exploit is a momentum heavy team, just like you mentioned. I feel like this is going to be a collision of approaches to the particular game, and I just want to know and I just want to watch which approach is better because this game probably decides it all.
Yeah, this game decides it all. There's a lot at stake. One of these teams will stop their journey in the gauntlet if they don't make it. So their approaches will definitely have to be on point. And speaking of on point, here's the player from Team Exploit who's almost always on point. Shooter is one of the best players in the team who can frag out of his mind, but he's only limited by HSB's potential. HSB, as the initiator of the team, he can set up Shooter for success in a lot of different ways, but you can't forget that he himself is a force to be reckoned with. Sometimes this man can hold on to a site all by himself until backup arrives, and by the time backup arrives, he's already wiped up half the enemies. So then his teammates are like, okay, what do we do now? Thank you so much, I guess.
Absolutely. You look at the statistics, man. 276, 260, 107, and then an average combat score of 188. I feel like he's a very, very versatile player. He can play the Sky, he can play the Sova, he can play a lot of different initiative roles, and he can perform them with absolute success. I mean, if you give him the flasher role, he does it with brilliance. If you give him the space in the room to go out for an information hunt, get all the reconnaissance with the team, I feel like he excels in that as well. He's literally the eyes of Team Exploit, the eyes with which Shooter sees and shoots. Once again, pun intended. But nonetheless, we basically see how Team Exploit functions. We saw Shooter's brilliance, we saw HSP, we also saw how Enigma kind of stacks up against them. But then, all in all, I feel like it comes down to the maps that we're going to play. And that is going to be the most important thing because I feel like when it actually comes to Valorant, a lot of teams, they have their comfort zones, they have their comfort maps. And when they play the comfort maps, I feel like they are a completely different unit. They literally become like a software upgraded version of themselves. So yeah, the maps are going to play a very key role in this competition and in this match as well. Let's have a look at the map veto that we have up front because that is going to play a key role. Crips, we have Bind first. That has been picked up by Team Exploit. I'm kind of surprised, but then not surprised as well. Team Exploit is really good on the map of Bind, but they have better maps as well. Team Enigma, they've picked up Ascent. Now, this is surprising, but also Team Enigma, they know how to work Ascent. They've played Ascent in the past few games and they've succeeded in that map as well. Decided is going to be on Split. And that kind of raises question marks because Split is Enigma's very sought after map. They love the map of Split. They didn't play it initially all that much, but later on in this season's Gauntlet, they've played Split quite a lot and they've got a lot of success on that map as well. For Team Exploit, I feel like this is going to be a map which they don't really fancy. So if this actually goes to a 1-1 in the first two maps, I feel like Enigma Gaming have an edge. But will Enigma Gaming manage to hold back Team Exploit on the map of Ascent? That is a question because Team Exploit, they're really explosive. And when we look at puggish maps like Ascent, you know that this team is absolutely going to rip it apart.
Okay, I do have a few questions about the map veto though. First of all, Team Exploit, they banned Haven. Understandable so. Enigma are pretty strong on Haven, they don't want to fight them, no
Yeah.
problems over there. Then Enigma Gaming proceeds to ban Breeze. Now, Team Exploit were decent in Breeze. They were giving Team Velocity a good run for their money in that map, and Enigma, they barely ever play Breeze, so it makes sense that they ban it. Bind and Ascent being picked up also makes sense to some extent. But then what happens surprises me. Exploit decided to
Yeah.
ban Icebox. Why? I mean, Exploit were playing pretty well on Icebox, and from what we saw
Hmm.
yesterday, Enigma definitely struggled on that map. And it is possible to counter Enigma on Icebox from what we saw in their match against Velocity yesterday. So, what's the problem? Exploit not picking up Icebox is definitely a surprise for me because I've seen them play Icebox, and while that approach is kind of
Yeah.
rigid, it is very, very potent. So I'm not sure why they decided to buy an Icebox. That was a bit of a surprise for me. Enigma Gaming banning Fracture, understandable. Nobody wants to play that map. Everyone hates me
Hmm.
because I like Fracture for some reason and nobody wants to give me my favorite map. So understandably so, I'll try not to take it personally. But yeah, then Split being picked up as a decider. And we have seen that Enigma are definitely better on Split than they are on Icebox. So
Hmm.
like what's the matter over there?
I
So
feel like there are two psychologies that involve when you actually go on and pick up map feed. I feel like there are two things. Number one is your comfort zone. Number two is you don't really want to take a chance against the opposition. Now, how Team Exploit love to play the map of ice boxes, just like you mentioned, they've got the really, really strong defaults. Like their A executes, their B executes. It's literally impenetrable. Like if there's a defending team, you would know they literally have no chance unless they kind of figure out a way to counter that unless they figure out a way to counter that default execute, the set piece execute that we talk about. I feel like Team Exploit, they've got a really nice set pieces on that map of Icebox, but when it actually comes to countering Enigma Gaming, I feel like Enigma Gaming, they've always got the potential to kind of adapt because of Antidote's experience, because of Rexy's experience, because of Hika's experience. And I feel like Team Exploit kind of think like Team Enigma Gaming, they're going to get conditioned to what Team Exploit will do on the map of Icebox. And since they don't really have all that much of strategies on that map, they can't really figure out all that many alternatives. We have seen Team Exploit, they don't really love to kind of explore the mid territory. They don't kind of venture into uncharted territory for themselves. They kind of love to play in their comfort zones, and that is exactly what I feel like the problem is when they try and play against the opposition who kind of is like they can adapt on the go. They try and rely on their fragging capabilities, which again is gonna like come out really in shining colors on the map of Ascent more than on the map of Icebox. I feel like that can be the psychology behind banning Icebox and not picking it up.
yeah, but then again, Ascent is a gamble. Icebox again was a gamble, but a more calculated one. You know that Team Exploit, they are pretty damn good on Icebox. Team Enigma, yeah, sure they can be good on Icebox, but it's pretty easy to counter them as well. Again, whether or not Icebox makes it into the thing is irrelevant right now because we have Bind, Ascent, and Split on our hands. Bind, on the other hand, is something that Exploit are good at, but they have some unconventional strategies. If they are able to make them work, if they're able to make those gamble picks and those peeks through the smokes work, then sure, Enigma will be in for a world of trouble. If they can somehow disrupt Enigma Gaming and their flow, then they will be in their Zen state. But if Team Exploit are not able to do so, if they kind of go according to their own game plan and somehow Enigma see it coming, then it could be like ramming headfirst into a brick wall.
Yeah. Exactly. Man, with that all said and done, I feel like the map veto is always going to be important. And bind, since we start on bind, I feel like it's very 50-50 because you mentioned, right? The agent composition is going to play a very key role. I feel like Team Exploit, they will go back to their comfort zone. They will play their double duelist composition. Meanwhile, Team Enigma Gaming can pick up the double controller, which has worked for them in the past, but also kind of helps them to put up a very strong defense against the double duelist side of Team Exploit. I'm not really sure if they will be able to break the defense though, because we've seen Team Enigma sort of falter on their attacking side a little bit, and if they give them the momentum right at the start, Team Exploit will always ride it. They are going to ride on early momentum for days, and they will not let you win the map in the final half, the final stage of the map itself. So I feel like for Enigma Gaming, it's really important to stick in and to like just be in the game for as long as they can. And when it actually comes, when Team Exploit kind of free up, when their strategy kind of does not work, that is when Enigma Gaming actually pounces on the game and takes it away from them.
If Enigma Gaming are able to bounce on it at the right time, that would be great. I have said it multiple times in the past that when it comes down to brawlish maps like Ascent and the Bind, something like this, then timing is of great importance over here. We've seen so many times teams get disrupted because they are unable to plant or they're unable to defuse simply because a ton of utility is thrown their way at the right time, at the moment when they start to touch the spike. That's what happens when you are disruptive that way. If you throw their plans for a toss, it's not exactly ruining their plans. They're not completely falling back either, but they are in a state of disarray. And if you catch them while in the middle of their tailspin, then any of these teams can win. And I think that's going to be a win condition for both of them.
True, absolutely true. But then it's also kind of very important to note that when we're just approaching the game real soon, it's gonna start in like in a matter of minutes. But I'm pretty sure the entire audience is like, all right, have gandhe bhai. But I understand your impatience. I understand, but there's a lot of back end work that we need to do as well. The teams are coming into the lobby as well. But with all that said and done, like, I feel like there's a little more theory crafting that we can still do at this point. So let's talk about agent scripts. Like, what do you think? What is gonna be the composition for both the teams? Like, we have exploited on one hand, double duelist. What is your call? What do you think?
So we saw them go for the double controllers yesterday on Bind. Astra and Viper were both picked
Okay.
up. Makes sense that way. Both the teams do it. So it's pretty cool. Now, yesterday, there is one thing that we noticed in Team Enigma. They were literally mirroring Team Velocity and whatever they were doing. Both the teams had similar rosters and agent compositions on all the three maps that they played. I'm not sure if that's going to be the case against Team Exploit as well, because Exploit love picking up Breach. So I think Breach is going to be a staple pick for Exploit in definitely Bind and Split. Maybe they won't pick it up in Ascent. Maybe they will. I'm not really sure because over there they have the choice of the Sky and the Breach as a secondary initiator, with the SOA being the first. So I think the Breach is going to be a staple pick for the side of Exploit. For Enigma, though, I think they're going to stick to the meta double controller setups, and they'll probably have a SOA. If they go for Bind, there is a small chance that they pick up the double duelist in form of the Jet and the Raze.
Maybe. But I feel like the double controller actually makes a lot more sense. If you actually play a double duelist, you need to play a lot on your frags, and one guy literally has to be like a live recon dart. But then again, I feel like getting information is important, and the Sova always the default pick. Breach is there, but we can also expect some Sky on the map mind as well, because we've seen Skies come here before. The Breach for me is always a better pick, because personally I love the flashes. It kind of annoys me a lot, but yeah,
You
I
want to
mean
annoy your
for
opponents, I understand.
yeah, of course. And it's also easier to use than Sky. I'm not really all that good of a player, so understandable, guys. But
We knew that.
yeah, all of us saw that coming. But yeah, the Sky also makes sense. But in terms of controllers, right, a Brimstone, we've seen Vipers on the map bind quite a lot, but I feel like Astra and a Viper kind of makes a lot more sense. What is your call? Like, what is the composition that you're looking for? We haven't seen Omen on the map of bind for a long time.
I feel like the composition Bind is one of those maps where you can have a lot of flexibility, right? So whether you go for a double controller or double initiator or even a double duelist for that matter, it doesn't really matter all that much as long as you're comfortable with it. In Ascent, though, yeah, that's when their composition can be a little bit of a more rigid thing. But either way, we'll discuss more about this later on as we are jumping into a break, ladies and gentlemen. I understand that you might be frustrated. Why is the game not starting? But rest assured that we will be starting with the game very soon after this break is over. BRB, and don't go anywhere. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to LG Ultragear presents TEC Gauntlet Season 3, powered by Crucial, 6x6, Cosmic Byte, and Aimlab. We have a little bit of an unfortunate news for you all. Unfortunately, we had to give Map 1 as a forfeit win to Enigma Gaming because TEAMXO did not show up on time. And as a result, we're going to be jumping straight into Map 2 instead, with Enigma having a one-map lead by default. So here's the situation. The stakes are even higher than we thought they were before. Now, Enigma Gaming need to win one map in order to go through the next stage. Team Exploit, on the other hand, they're going to have to win both of them to claim their lead over here. Let's see what happens as we're going to be heading into Ascent any moment now. Agent selection will be up on your screen shortly. And while it is unfortunate that the odds are stacked against Team Exploit now, we have seen them come back from even worse situations. And I'm pretty sure they have what it takes to give Enigma Gaming a run for their money.
Exactly. I mean, for sure, this is not ideal circumstances, but I'm pretty sure, like when your backs are against your wall, I feel like that is when the hero just comes and arrives and saves the day. We'll have a look at the agent selection, ladies and gentlemen. We'll jump straight in the game after that, and I'm pretty sure this is going to be exciting. We have confirmation already. Team Exploit. They look like they mean business. Shooter on Jet, Soulmate on KJ, HSB on Breach, King on Sova, and Shaka on the Astra. Instant picks. They look like they really want to win this. Now, we have to talk about the map of Ascent. Enigma Gaming, they're really good on this map. And considering the fact that they've got a 1-0 lead, I just hope that Enigma Gaming, I mean, even if I
I
say
hope
that
they don't.
Enigma Gaming they should have an easy victory, this will not be the case because Team Exploit, they're hungry for this victory, right? And I'm pretty sure, I just hope that this team actually give a tough fight against Enigma Gaming. For them, Ascent is a really, really strong point.
It indeed is. And I hope Enigma Gaming don't squander this God-gifted opportunity. Team Exploit, when they are on Ascent, at least on the attacking side, they like using A side as their bread and butter. They hit A and B repeatedly so many times, and Exploit barely
Select
seem to
your
touch
agent.
mid. When these guys were fighting against Weird Esports, they never played mid at all while they were on the attacking side. They hit it only once. That too did not take any objective control with it. They only got like one kill on it, and they used the A side like anything. They basically exploited the hell out of it. And if that is any indication, then maybe Team Enigma can use that information. Maybe they can use that free mid control that will be given to them. But
Yeah.
that's going to be relevant in the second half when Team Exploit goes on the attacking side. For now, we have Team Exploit on defense and Enigma on attack. Let's see what these guys bring to the table as we jump into the game.
Exactly. We'll jump into the game right up, and we literally have mirror lineups of each other, right? Both of them have a double initiator composition, one with a Sky, one with a Breach, and the rest of the team, it's pretty much the same: Sova, Astra, and Jet, as well as a KJ. And this basically goes to show that they've got equal strategies. I'm pretty sure the approach to the game is going to be pretty similar as well. But I'm just looking at the execution. Who executes the strategy better? Considering you have double initiators, I'm pretty sure Enigma Gaming on the attacking side will try and play a little slow, try and play on the back of some information. They already have that presence towards B, so I probably think this is going to be a B hit right from the start, but they've got the Sky plays towards A as well, so they can get some information and some presence towards that A side.
They definitely can get some
wait,
presence,
what?
but Shooter, he doesn't want presence, he wants violence, and he chooses it right at the start. But Enigma Gaming hold on to it. The aggressive tactics from Team Exploit not working out just yet. The flash and dash resulted in his death, and HSB has shock darts and wolves headed in his direction. Enigma Gaming, they hold on for the first round. the breakneck pacing from Team Exploit kind of resulted in their own loss, and the flash and dash did not exactly work. Sure, there was one kill that Shooter almost got, the nice dink follow-up with King. All of that was possible, but at the end of the day, I think it's a bit too much to start off the things. Remember, before the game started, we mentioned that Team Exploit barely ever used mid the last time they were playing against
Yeah.
Weird Esports. Well, this is quite the opposite. Now they use only mid. But hey, this was just the first round, and maybe they'll try something else.
Exactly. I also kind of felt like this was to channelize the inner anger as well as not being able to play the first map. This could also be a sort of way to kind of seek redemption, and they really want to start it off from the get-go and get right onto that lead and try and play with the minds of Enigma Gaming. I feel like that was the motive of the direct attack. But we had a slight pause yet again because Shaka, it seems like, has disconnected. So we're going to wait for him to come back, of course. But that approach kind of tells you two things, right? Enigma Gaming, they are really good on reading things. We talked about it. This team is really good on adapting to the opposition. This was something which they probably did not expect. The mid aggression coming through, the B aggression coming through as well, and all of these players forced into engaging duels right from like seconds from entering this lower bracket playoff game. This was something which they did not expect, but they still handled it and they still had 3 men alive. This speaks volumes of how Team Enigma can actually adapt to different situations. And I feel like if they can adapt to this, they can adapt to literally anything that Team Exploit can come up with. And second of all, I feel like Exploit are going to keep this attacking edge. I feel like they are going to play a really attacking game throughout this entire map. I'm not really sure if it's going to give them success. They might win a few rounds on the back of their fragging capabilities, but it's going to be tough to kind of maintain that pace and maintain that brilliance, because I feel like Crips, you remember we talked about, we had this conversation where attacking kind of leads you to take predetermined steps. You can't really change your steps because otherwise it's literally a commotion at that point. If you want to be kind of synchronized with your team, you have to take predetermined steps if you want to be fast, and that kind of leads you to be predictable. And that is what I fear Team Exploit can actually be in the later stage of this game.
So that's the thing about Team Exploit, right? If they start attacking you, they don't stop, and most of the times that attack ends within seconds. It results in either their death or the death of their opponents. So this breakneck pacing from Team Exploit is what makes them special. This speed, violence, and aggression is what makes Team Exploit what they are. This is who they are. They are the very definition of brute force. Team
Yeah.
Enigma, on the other hand, they are kind of flexible that way. So even if Team Exploit break their necks open in the first few seconds of the round, Enigma, the only silver lining for them is that they can somehow adjust better in the mid round. And look at this adjustment coming out from Team Exploit. Soulmate inside of Binary. Shooter already making his presence known, and now Soulmate reveals himself. Gets one, dink onto Hika. Unfortunately, he can't heal himself, so he's gonna have to stay on 2 HP all throughout the round. But this bait and switch worked out pretty damn well. Shooter revealing himself, Soulmate taking the chance when he had to. Almost got a double kill, and I think that's justified. With just a classic.
Yeah, exactly. With just a classic over there, I feel like he's done enough. Got a frag, got almost another player who's barely breathing, Kika. Sadly, he's a Sky, he can't heal himself, so that basically means he basically in Enigma Gaming, they have to bank on the rest of the 3 players and their services in this round. And of course, they're trying to rotate their way. This is going to be a very slow rotate, but the read from Team Exploit is pretty damn good. I mean, you look at this, right? They knew exactly when they backed off, this is going to be a B hit, but in spite of Team Enigma Gaming buying time, they are in this. And of course, the breach fault line comes through. Hika actually makes his way into the side, but I'm not really sure if he's going to survive much. The shock dart, perfect over there, but RVK has already made his way towards second lane, and he's destroyed the defense over there.
Oh, Shaka. This turret, even if it pops, it's not going to detect exactly where he is. It's going to have to be Rexy who finally sees him for the person he is. But this could have worked really well. I mean, the steps that Team Exploit took in this round were phenomenal. First of all, the bait and switch towards Binary, it was really good. Shaka was moving towards B link right the moment Enigma started to hit B. And sure, there was a little confusion as to whether they're present towards high mid or whether they're present towards B, but that confusion was quickly sorted. Team Enigma's utility, it could not have detected where Shaka came from. The placement of that turret, as soon as the turret starts to ping, you don't know whether it's trying to stop someone from coming towards the B defender region or towards market, or if anyone's coming backstab. So Shaka's backstab worked out. He even got a kill onto Rexy. Yeah, sure, Team Enigma won the round, but that was probably because they had better weaponry, and they had 2 remaining Spectres from the previous round. Now they have a little shabby buy of sorts, with some Spectres from the previous round, some Vandals upgraded, and a Sheriff onto Antidote. Export, on the other hand, have all the weaponry they need. But this is a little bit of a Hail Mary push from Team Enigma, as Rockfield already makes his way all the way towards the lane too. He tries to get a kill. The rest of the players of Team Enigma trying to flood into the site, hoping to overwhelm them with the numbers, but the number advantage still lies with Team Exploit. Not anymore, says Rexy as he equalizes things, and it's back to a 2v2.
The recovery from Enigma was absolutely perfect. Antidote is still playing from both halves. This can be huge, but Shaka has an awareness of where he is already. The owl drone kind of reveals all the plans, of course. That needs to be destroyed first. For Team Exploit, they need to find a way to enter the side and completely eliminate the opposition. The spike is yet to be planted. So they can buy time. They can actually wait for the opposition to go down, and now it comes. They've got no stars remain. First one down already. Antidote plays out of sight. The recon done. Rexy has a lot of responsibility. Knows exactly where one position is. Takes him down. It's a 1v1. Who spots first? Rexy. Nice jiggle peek. 4 bullets in the chamber. This man is shying. Shaka tracks right across the head. It takes him out. Beautiful stuff. And Team Exploit, they get their first round.
Woo! What a one tap by Shaka to end the round over there.
That's
so good. Oh, I kind of want to see it again, though. Either way, I love this approach from Team Enigma. It was rather simple. They knew that the weaponry advantage lies with Team Exploit, so trying to challenge them towards mid or trying to play it slow will only result in them getting more picks. I'm sorry, it will result in them getting picked off. So they were like, why don't we just force this issue and try to brute force our way into the B site? You know, take some things directly out of Team Exploit's book. And now, once again, Enigma have a decent-ish buy. Even Team Exploit's economy is kind of down the drain because they lost so many players in the last round. So it's Spectres and Vandals for Exploit and 4 Vandals for Enigma, except just 1 Sheriff on RBK. Of course, it's hard to be RBK, but Shooter already getting away with murder. Hika down towards A long, and that's all the information they need. HSB has a fair idea about what's going on towards Gardens. And of course, since he's a breach, a single fault line and aftershock combo is enough to get a kill or 2. He's been tagged, forced to fall back, flashes to hold off the side of Team Enigma, but Shooter, he cannot capitalize on the spray, so he's going to have to reset. Antidote picks up the man advantage, turns it back into a 4v4. Shooter look to make it a little cheeky. They know they're losing control towards Garden, so they're trying to make up for it by pushing A main, and they might be successful. Yes, they are. Get a couple of kills, but Enigma neutralizes the player on A long, so now it's back to square one for Team Enigma.
Last player standing.
Nice little bait and switch over there towards the end.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Within Enigma, they had it in their books. It almost looked like they had it because from a point where they had that presence towards A main, it kind of enabled the rest of the 3 players to move in from a shot. But then again, when HSB kind of faltered a little bit with the flashes and Shooter kind of missed that shot, I felt like Enigma, they have an edge. They also kind of made their way towards the side almost, especially with RVK getting that frag on his Shaka was important. But then Shooter once again steps up to kind of save the day for Team Exploit as they make it 2-2. This time he has a Marshal to work with. The recon up comes up. He's going to get raw fuel, one of the danger mans from Enigma Gaming. And he's down. Second shot connects. No kill though.
It's okay, he doesn't need to kill. He's got enough damage, and it's an eco run for Enigma anyway. So they don't mind losing all these players. But Shooter, he's extracting value out of that Marshal, and that's incredible because he too is on a little bit of an eco. Shooter can play on the back of his Blade Storm. He doesn't even have any armor, so Shooter's just got the Marshal this round, nothing else. His teammates just trying to hold on to their guns. And at this point, this early in the game, it's all about breaking the other's economy. Antidote's moving up close, but Shaka has the high ground and the higher angle. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't assume they can do much. If they can just get the plant, that itself will be enough for Team Enigma.
They've got a weapon drop at least. That's good. Hika getting the shot on HSB. Shaka. Interesting duel though, kind of misses a lot of shots, but still it's fine. It's good for Team Exploit because they did not lose a lot of weapons. One weapon lost, but I feel like Shooter can exchange that. And with that being said, I feel like he is gonna retain that Marshall. But with all that said and done, this was an eco round. You didn't really expect much from Enigma Gaming. At least they got one kill, but I feel like that's not really the best of eco rounds. But they can actually do better in this one because, of course, they've got the weapons to work with. Shooter still carries his Marshall. I'm pretty sure he's capable of getting frags on the back of it, but I'm actually more interested in what Enigma bring out in this round because this is probably going to be one of the first major rounds when we see all guns go blazing. We've got some flashes on the A side. We've got that presence towards A as well. You've got that presence towards B, but RVK eventually decides to fall back. They regroup together. So there's literally no mid presence. There's literally no short presence. All of them kind of bank on, and this owl drone is literally going to spot. It spots one guy though, and that is problematic. The Shooter does not know, and Rexy uses that advantage and gets a kill on him.
Yeah, but now that Shooter has spotted out so many players to it day long, I think the rotations from Team Elite, Team Exploit should be on their way. I do feel a little nervous about this one though. The lockdown's been committed. Rexy is not using the Hunter's Fury to destroy it. In fact, one player even gets detained on purpose. And King is just trying to bait out some couple of shots. He knows that if they come to shoot King, there's gonna be there's gonna be a soulmate right around the corner to back them up. So that doesn't work out. Still a 4v5. A retake is gonna be difficult, and now the Rolling Thunder comes through. This is exactly what they were waiting for, and they can't back up from the back of it. This is becoming a little difficult. HSB trying to clear his way into the site. There's only two people left now. He knows where Rexy is, but what about RVK and Rofuel? Rofuel was spotted last to its garden, so he still needs to find RVK, and the lack of a nanoswarm might make this thing difficult. They're trying to defuse inside the nebula, but they found it. No problem.
You really don't need nanoswarms over there. Rofuel's presence over the A-shot was literally the best thing over there. I feel like the Rolling Thunder was meant for the people inside. It probably got everybody but Rofuel, and that was it. That was the key thing, especially when you peek out on the back of that Rolling Thunder and Rofuel kind of disables it, takes you down. That is literally the biggest knockout blows that you can get. It's literally like a big show punch, and Team Enigma, they kind of countered that brilliantly, and especially in the 2v3 situation, the diffusing the spike, that was unrealistic. You knew that Team Enigma had it in their books, but all that said and done, 3-3 is the scoreline, ladies and gentlemen. Now this time, we're once again switching back to the B side. Team Enigma look to do something different, but they've got Tika in this corner. But Shaka is going to take him out. The controller, it was a high risk, high reward situation for him, but at least he survives that and gets a kill. That's good value out of it. An exchange of information, but here it comes, the Hunter's Fury that you actually worried about. King gets one frag, interesting frag on the back of it. King gets two onto Antidote, but that's a 1-for-2 trade. That's good stuff right there. Shooter's gonna get RBK, who is strolling in the B side. I have no clue why would you stroll all your way towards defender spawn like that, but nonetheless, Rofuel in mid, completely patterned out of a mid presence, misses a lot of shots onto HSB. 1v3, we know Rofuel can pull this off, but this is going to be interesting because 50 seconds on the clock. He's got the spike. He's got 3 players that he needs to take down. That's not going to be easy. I've got a lot of KJ utility in this position, but all of them have been disabled. So basically no information. And no read from Team Exploit as well, because there is literally nobody in this B side. They still kind of expect him to come from mid. That's surprising.
Yeah, but that's fine. Even if he goes to the B side, the moment he starts planting, he's going to be trapped in the site. I'm pretty sure that they'll take positions which doesn't let Rofuel escape. So now he's trapped in here, and all of Team Exploit, they're surrounding him. He can feel the map shrinking around himself. All of them coming in from the defender entrance as well. This is good. Oh, but the sound cue, it might give away Rofuel's position. They haven't checked for him yet, and he gets the first jump, turning it into only 2. The fake diffuse, trying to bait him out, and Shooter's ready for him.
You see, when we explain how Team Exploit kind of funnel on their resources for Shooter to get kills, is exactly how we've seen Soulmate and do that the same way. So Shooter also himself kind of acts as a bait for the rest of his teammates to get kills, but more so the other way around, more so vice versa. This time it was like Shooter literally was in position with that operator. As soon as the sound cue comes in, Rawfield gets taken down with the operator. It's pure, perfect team exploit. They're playing this according to the books. They are on the defensive side of things, so they need to retain the lead if they want to survive against Enigma Gaming. I feel like if this half ends at around 7-5, we are in a very even Stevens affair. But if Team Enigma Gaming carry on that lead or even makes it 6-6 in half, I feel like they're gonna be the ones who will really expect to win this one. Nonetheless, once again, it kind of looks like a mixed bag of sorts because we've got that B presence, but we've also got the mid presence this time, which is kind of unlikely because Antidote being the solo controller right now, him kind of risking the fact that his presence towards mid and taking those duels, it is going to be problematic.
Antidote goes by unchecked. He gets the kill onto Shooter. Sure, Shaka controls damage, but the damage is already done. And look at the repercussions of this. 2 of the players of Team Exploit now positioned towards Gardens. That means less manpower available on B. For now, whatever manpower is present over here is enough to get at least 1 kill. But what about when RBK re-engages? Now you're in trouble. It's just the Killjoy left, and of course RBK shows who's the better Killjoy. B-side falls into Desiree, and Hika's already making sure that nobody else can make it through this stage. He might be able to catch Shaka over here. I don't think Shaka will check this angle so deeply. He might check Visa and then nothing else. And of course that happens. Another one? Nah, HSB controls the damage, but his position's been revealed, and he has 2 flashes to work with, but not too much time. And of course, the only thing that could work in his favor is the fact that Team Enigma are not playing alongside each other, so trading potential is not there, but RBK can just stab him in the back, I guess. Brilliant performance from RBK this round. Triple kill. 2 of those frags were really crucial right at the beginning, liberating the entire site. And you're right, Salty, this was an eco. They weren't supposed to win this one, but they do. And Enigma, in response, have now crumbled the economy of Team Exploit.
You remember I told one thing right at the pre-show when we talked about RVK, that this man is probably the safest guy you want to win around. He literally did that. Like, that was a retrieved Phantom. I feel like it was a hero Vandal buy from Team Enigma. It was on Rawfield. Rawfield was taken down accidentally, but RVK eventually picks it up and he destroys the rest of the team with it. The composure on this man is on a different level, but Team Exploit kind of try and do something different. This time, they kind of focus all their attention towards a shot. They try and stop the entrances with their pistols, which is kind of interesting because there is literally no mid presence, and Team Enigma, if they try and venture it out towards mid, they can easily break open this setup. But even Team Enigma is not doing that. Even they are focused on the entrance. So this can actually turn out to an interesting series of affairs. I really want to find out who gets first contact, who gets the first kill, because it kind of establishes things. Also to note, this is going to be an eco round for Team Exploit. So even if there are like 1v1 duels, you expect Team Enigma to win them. But considering the positions, I feel like Team Exploit, they've set themselves up to get those trades. And I feel like that is going to be the most important things. If your trades are right, you can win eco rounds on that.
I mean, speaking of trades, take a look at this thing. There's 4 people stationed on the A side. No, make it all 5. All 5 defenders of Team Elite, Team Exploit over here, ready to stack them. But after showing presence on the A side, Team Enigma make a safe bet and go towards B. Now that's good. They avoid the trap. The only person left towards A long is going to be Rawfuel, and he's alone over here. Hika can stop a couple of players. Eventually, he's going to be taken down when too many sheriffs and, Frenzy speak him at the same time. But he's done his work. Rawfield on the backstab. He can stop this from happening. He can maybe even stop the people of Team Exploit from reaching the B site. And this was good from Team Enigma, because if they started to attack the A side and they committed to it, then this would have been a trap and they could have probably failed. Enigma deciding to go towards the B side right in the nick of time definitely helped them.
Yeah. At this point, Shooter with retrieved Vandal, I kind of think he will try and not engage in duels. He won't save that weapon, but no, wait, what? Shooter finds one frag. Soulmate with his turret finds another one. This is a successful eco round for them. They've got 3 frags in total. Yeah, sure, Enigma, take your victory, take your round victory, but they've also kind of baited in an ultimate. There was a natural divide that was utilized as well, so this was a proper win in terms of psychology for Team Exploit. And for Team Enigma, they kind of spent in a lot of resources to win that round. That was really expensive for them.
Yeah, but at least a round win is a round win. Consider this, if Enigma lost this one, then their economy would have been crumbled. We know what happens when you lose a round immediately after winning one, and that's like a massive reset. So Enigma keeping the economy alive and keeping Rexy alive is big because now Rexy has 7,200 credits to spare. He can drop a couple of weapons to his teammates in the next round even if they lose this one. And as we approach the last few rounds of the first half, keeping your economy alive is going to be super important. You don't want to be broke with just one round left in the half.
Yep, sure. Team Enigma though, all of them stationed outside this A corridor. This is going to be literally a brute force way in into that A side. They don't really have all that defense set as well. 3 players versus 5, but I like the fact that Enigma reconsidered this approach and they want to fall back. They've immediately set on a journey towards the B side as well. Now, this is going to be a long journey and this is going to cost them a lot of time on the clock.
That's
30
fine, though.
seconds. But can they brute force their way in towards the B side? Because right now we've got a lockdown towards A. This is like an insurance policy. This is like, all right, guys, I'm going to help you. It is going to be an A hit. Take it all out as much as you want. I'm pretty sure the KJ as well as the Sova towards the B side, they will have no idea that this is coming up. Probably they do because sound cues have been given.
Yeah, and the delay tactics from the team Exploit Killjoy, it's keeping them at bay. The Cosmic Divide, it's going to help them plant the spike right here, but not clearing the site is going to be very, very tricky if they decide to go for this route. Soulmate does kill 2 people. Spike still yet to traverse over.
Left.
Antidote now going for the safe plant. That's good because Shooter has already been picked off by RVK, so that's a little bit of a safe bet. Although I kind of think that the round win from Team Enigma had already been guaranteed right at the start. Exploit will still try this. 2 versus 3, they've overcome bigger odds and they want to try this. It's not like they have a choice. Unfortunately, HSB has no utility, only a fault line which is easily dodgeable, no option to follow up. RVK even has a turret, and the recon dart is perfect from Rexy. Reveals Shaka and HSB both. RVK picks them off through the smoke. And now HSB has no choice but to go in for the save. But let me tell you why I think Team Enigma won this round before the B hit even happened, before the lockdown was even planted. What they basically did is force HSB to use his aftershocks and his flashes right at the start of the round, hoping to keep Team Enigma at bay. Enigma never came in, but at least they baited out all the utility from HSB. And keep in mind, the breach players are extremely essential for a retake. Having a breach on the retake is making your life so much easier, but if you bait out the utility from HSB right at the start, you will have nothing left for the retake, and then the life of Team Enigma becomes even easier.
Yeah, absolutely. That was crucial. Yes, for sure the flashes were used and Team Enigma did not even I'm not even sure if there was one guy who was flashed in that attack. Team Enigma plays themselves perfectly and that lockdown was just an insurance policy. 4 to 6 Team Enigma kind of take this differently, but so does Shooter because this time around Shooter goes on to a very aggressive route. He takes on Rexy. Oh no, that was a little too overcomplicated and a little too much overextension from that man. But King this time though, he's got 1 kill already with the Sheriff. Can he isolate those 3 frags? Can he take it out? This is still an equal round and they can still work it out. The first one for HSB still has a rolling thunder. I'm pretty sure which he doesn't want to use this one.
He might.
Planted.
Why not? It's a 1v2. He knows the spike plant is happening towards B. He used up his flashes, which means now he's only got the rolling thunder left. But if he uses it on the side, it's going to be useless. Nobody from Team Enigma is on the site. He has 1 player towards B main, which I think he will check. He was killed by RBK from the same position that Raw Fuel is holding right now. So he's going to check B main. But will he check the defender entrance? Oh, he's going for Antidote first. There's a player right behind him. Raw Fuel did not swing. Raw Fuel did not swing. Now he does, and he takes care of him. But this could have been so much more different. HSB should have expected B main because RVK killed him from that position last time, and Enigma almost always hold it. And I have to criticize Raw Fuel over here. The fact that he did not peek immediately after the Antidote, it could have given HSB a chance to reset and maybe even clutch this out. Raw Fuel was lucky that HSB did not check behind him directly. And why would he, right? I mean, HSB, I'm pretty sure he was prepared to turn 180 degrees and shoot Raw Fuel as well if he decided to show himself. But because Raw Fuel never showed up, HSB thought, yeah, if this guy's not peeking now, then he's probably going to be somewhere else. So yeah, there was a little bit of an awkward scenario over there in the 1v2. But Enigma still got the lead.
sure Shaka will be pushed back with his out zone. A lot of these players peeking, shooter teams at risk, but actually falls back as well. Hika finds Soulmate towards the A side. That's a lot of space open for them. Rockfield with the daggers. It's going to be crucial, but the fourth line going to stop him. Shaka gets a lot of advantage, but eventually it's going to be Shooter who peeks out and takes down RVK as well. It's a lot of work happening towards that A short area, and it's literally a graveyard right now. Rexy will peek out and will fall down to his grave as well. HSP finishing things off in style. Team Exploit 7-5 half. This looks like Team Enigma Gaming written all over in Ascent, because their attack, the mid-game control, was absolute perfect. And we know for a fact, Crips, that whoever controls that midfield gets to win the game. But then again, Team Exploit will have an opportunity to kind of reclaim that same throne. We know this is going to be an attacking team. We know they will try and keep Enigma at bay in their attacking side. I just want to see what their approach looks like, because for Enigma, it was a constant switch between A and B and A and B. And Team Exploit, even though the read was good, they were left kind of wondering which side Team Enigma Gaming is going to hit, or even are they going to fake as well.
Now, the last time Team Exploit was in Ascent against VALOR Esports, they never used mid while they were on the attacking side. I agree they never needed to, because the A side attack was working for them so well. Why would they fix something that's not broken? But Team Exploit have already shown that they like using mid on the defensive side. Now, whether or not they use it on attack is something that we'll have to find out. For now, Exploit are barely moving. The indication from them is that they are just waiting outside of B, with one player stationed outside of high mid / A, kind of indicating for a default push. Although if they hold defaults, that means they're waiting for Enigma also to make a move, which I'm not sure if Enigma will make. If they do so, well, then let's hope Team Exploit are able to pick them off. If not, then Enigma will walk away with the advantage, and they will instantly disengage after getting the first pick.
Yeah, absolutely. We again have a small little pause, ladies and gentlemen. So it's literally 1 second on the clock. We were ready for it, and that is one of the reasons why you probably might see the walls have been raised, the barriers. But yeah, it is going to be a slight pause. But what you mentioned is right. I feel like Team Exploit, they just need to figure out a proper plan at this point on which side to take. Because you look at this, like the A setup, flooded with all the KJ utility and the Astro Stars. We generally see the KJ set up towards the B side, but the B side has actually been held by 3 players. So they're trying out 3 players towards the B, 2 players towards A, coupled up with all the utility. It kind of all depends, kind of boils down to where Team Exploit is going to hit, even if they are going to exploit the mid area and try and capitalize on the on the spots that there are left in the defense. But
I think it's good, the fact that there's 2 initiators on the B side. Usually you would have 1 sentinel over there, but here's what happens. If there's 2 initiators over here, you can easily gather information. If Team Exploit go towards B, yeah, sure, there's 3 people to hold it. Forget whatever characters they play. Just 3 people should be enough. But because the initiators are closer to mid-market, they can gather information on mid using just their utilities, and that should be enough. For now, Exploit going for an A crunch. 3 people coming in from Gardens, 2 from B main. I'm sorry, 2 from A main. Let's see how it works out.
Shooter actually makes his way in B. These players, they're a little vulnerable at this point, but Rex with the shock darts will get the first one. Yes, Shaka is down, but Soulmate actually brings it back. Antidote is down as well. 2 controllers, they're not in the game anymore. Rawfield takes the peak, but does not get a frag over there. Shooter is back, finds RVK. That's one important play down, but Rexy and Rawfield hit back really, really well in style. 3v2. They've got the utility to work with. They've got the owl drone. Soulmate, though, is actually probably been spotted. Rocky peeks out, Soulmate puts him to his misery. Rexy, triple kill for this man. Hika with his guns blazing. Frenzy goes wild, and he finishes off King over there in style. Enigma, they make it 8. Also a potential 9th.
It was kind of comical how both the servers were droning at the same time.
Yeah.
Rexy got tagged over there, but he just did not bother. Now imagine if someone on Team Exploit had a sheriff or something. He could have been shot through the wood. Luckily for them, the Classic's a P shooter at this point, so they weren't in too much danger. Also, I kind of feel like Team Exploit not holding a main after the post plant is kind of what lost them the round. Because all of them were positioned under heaven, it became easy for Enigma to isolate these frags one by one. Sure, Team Exploit can swing them at the same time, double peek or something along that, but Enigma having more bodies to throw at them, they will always come out on top.
I mean, they didn't really have the time to actually get back to the A main territory nonetheless. We move on to the we move on to the next round, the recon that comes in. A lot of these information. Oh, okay. Through the smoke, even though the player was tagged, I didn't expect Shooter to hit that shot, but he does it. It's a headshot for Shooter. Nice one, but Antidote overextends, gets punished for it. HSP, nice one. But Rothfield actually brings it back as well. It's still a 3v4 right now. Enigma can actually bring this back, courtesy to their advanced weaponry. The SMGs can sing the songs of death in this round. 3v3 RVK spots down Shaka. Great awareness from this man. And this is the final name, the coffin. Rothfield with the Spectre going absolutely wild in the B side. I mean, look at this man, right? RVK. He even has that awareness that there might be somebody lurking towards somewhere in mid, right? He's stationed himself in that position so perfectly. He doesn't even care if there are 4 players trying to breach that B side, because he knows that there's Rothfield, there are other players who are capable enough of holding that B side. He's got his job covered, and this is the best thing that I love about this man RVK, that he knows his responsibilities, he knows what his job cutout is, and he does it perfectly.
Yeah, RVK holding the backstab, Rothfield isolating the 1v1s, and still brave enough to peek the last 2 players in a double peek and still win. That's impressive, but now TEAMXO, they've got the better weaponry, and Shooter always finds people through the smoke. I understand this was a little easier for him to do because Rothfield, he showed himself at least a little pixel of his body through that little gap in the nebula, but now that they've liberated the B site, a retake from Team Enigma looks nigh impossible. They don't have the weaponry, nor the utility, nor the positioning to do so. Unless TEAMXO throws away the advantage, which they won't, King winning out the duels even on 28 HP. It goes on 78. Make it 42.
Now at 42.
The wall is just singing the song of death. There's no place safe, nowhere left to run, nowhere left to hide. All you can do is just bide your time and go into the next round.
Yeah, this was a really important round for TEAMXO, because 6-9 right now. They still potentially can make a comeback, but when economy is on the side of Team Enigma Gaming, I feel like this is going to be really difficult, because you see Rothfield has got the operator already. Now Shooter has got a lot of kills. He has maintained that man advantage right at the start of the round through the smokes. Getting that entry frags was really important, but will he be able to do it now? Because Rothfield will be peeking out, and if he gets a right read on the opposition, this is going to be exponentially more difficult. HSB once again will be the key for funneling the team through the A side, but they've got that presence towards mid, and that is what I love, right? They can exploit what Team Enigma has not been doing. They still have the Sova station over there. The Owl drone is not gonna spot anybody, I guess, and if it doesn't, I feel like that's free territory for Shooter and others to exploit.
Free real estate or not, there are at least no free kills this round, so that's one good thing. TEAMXO not revealing most of their positions. They've shown some presence on B, but now that the Rolling Thunder comes through, it's gonna hit everyone on the side, and they're stunned. Their legs are broken. A reverse stun comes through from Hika, buying himself a little bit more time, but eventually the site will crumble. Hika left with Generator, desperately in need of backup, but his call for aid will go unanswered. It's just down to Rexy, and he's doing his job. Antidote helping him make it easier. More shock dust to come through, and it just be trapped inside Generator. Nowhere left to run for him this time around. They don't even get to plant the spike.
That recovery was brilliant. Once again, like I keep repeating my words, because this is what Team Enigma has been doing, right? Even from the clutches of death, they find a way to actually make a comeback. Hika was left squandered. Like, you saw him, he was desperate for help, but there was nobody to save him. He got taken down, but then Rexy comes up, Antidote comes up, and they take control of things. Rexy with that interesting kills. I believe it was a double frag, and the Antidote kind of putting the final nail in the coffin. Even though that Rolling Thunder was utilized, they still did not get access to side. This kind of speaks volumes of how powerful this defense is, but more so how composed this defense is, because even in times of adversity, they kind of still shine. Shooter sticks one dagger into Rexy, but still, oh my god, that was a second 150 HP for this man, but he still survives. Shaka though finds Hika elsewhere. That is going to be one important frag. RVK is stationed towards A. Well, this is going to be an eco round for TEAMXO. I'm not really expecting much. Shooter probably has exhausted his daggers as well, so okay, he probably has one more.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I think one is enough for him. RVK though, with him neutralizing things, this could be important. Antidote pushing out even further than he was supposed to. He does get the info that Soulmate is present over there, but now the rest of the people of Team Exploit are making their presence known towards A instead. So Team Enigma don't have any full confirmation. Shaka with the Guardian through the wall. Of all the weapons, I never thought a Guardian would be able to wallbang so accurately. Rexy, with barely any HP left, has a lot of heavy lifting to do. And his pressure from the shoulders will be alleviated. Well, not just the pressure from the shoulders, his head will be taken off his shoulders. But Team Exploit are starting to mount a little bit of a comeback over here, Salty. Enigma had 10 rounds a long time ago, but last few rounds have been very back and forth. And because they are back and forth, none of these teams get to build up an economy of sorts. Team Exploit, they did not have proper weaponry that round, so with them winning out a semi-thrifty round of sorts, they have 5,000 credits on spare with Soulmate, more than 4,000 on Shooter and Shaka. That's good for them. Even if they lose this round, they will have enough money to buy in the next. But now Enigma are broke. No matter what they do, Enigma will have a buy in the next round. But again, that doesn't guarantee that they will break Team Exploit's economy.
Exactly. Now, Team Enigma, they're really strong on the ecos, right? The last round was kind of testament to the fact that Team Exploit, they've been trying to keep themselves in the game as much as possible. It's more like Team Enigma getting the lead and then Team Exploit playing catch up to them. And that has been the case with back and forth situation. But this time again, the situation kind of tells a story that Team Exploit, they're beating because of the economy, but at least Soulmate finds the first frag. At this point, you know for a fact that this should be an easy entry. They've taken down 2 lurkers. The 3 players who are basically trapped in the site will be eliminated by Shooter. And the first one goes down. King takes the second one. Hika finds 1 frag, but that basically is. I kind of repeat my words once again. I kind of missed it's a smaller level. I feel like Enigma Gaming, for them, this is going to be trouble because you mentioned about the economy thing perfectly. Even if Team Exploit lost that round, they've got so much cash they can actually bank upon that cash to win them further rounds. And Enigma have got 1 full by this one, but I feel like they might have to trade. They probably have to trade some utility to actually get that buy. Even if they don't, if they lose this round, it basically means that Team Exploit are back in the game. It's even Stevens, and there's literally 0 ground given even after fighting 10 rounds, 20 rounds in fact.
3 ultimates available for Enigma though, so this could be good. One of them is the Hunter's Fury and the Lockdown. Retakes easier with them, and the Seekers haven't committed. This will definitely confirm that the remaining members of Team Exploit are still on the A site, and whatever entry they were trying to go for has been foiled. A 4-man stack from Enigma towards the A site confirms their suspicions, and they hold onto it with an iron grip. Keep in mind that this is not the first time Team Exploit are trying this execute. They tried it so many times against Esports. It worked with them like a charm, but against Enigma, it feels like they have hit a brick wall. They can sometimes push through it, but this is not one of those times. King and Shaka left to their own devices. Almost nothing left to do. The best that they can hope for is save their weapons, but that's all they can do. And Enigma, luckily for them, will not go for the hunt. If Enigma goes for the hunt and they lose their weapons, it's just worse off for them. Enigma don't have the resources left to commit a hunt over here.
Exactly. This is something which Team Exploit can actually use to their advantage because Shaka will find some real estate and some map control on the back of it because those players from Team Enigma, they aren't pushing forward. They aren't pressing for kills. Shaka finds the first one, gets a little bit more space towards the A-shot region, gets spotted as well. Antidote is going to shoot him to death, and that is basically the 11th round for Team Enigma. Once again, beautiful stuff, beautiful coordination. I feel like the communication in between Enigma players have been pitch perfect. For Team Exploit though, this is kind of alarming because they still have the cash to go for buys, but even if they have the cash, they don't really have the advantage when it actually comes to mindset and mentality. And that is one of the reasons why they're going for this timeout, because think about it. They've got 1 more round before Team Enigma actually wins this game and they're out of the tournament. They literally have to win 3 more rounds back to back. The ultimate situation is also not the best for them because they've got the Hunter's Fury, they've got the Astral Divide. I'm sure the Hunter's Fury can give you a little kills, but if they had the lockdown, it could have been so much more better. Right now, all they have to do is figure out an escape strategy from this position because their defaults aren't working, and that's clear from the last round itself.
So Team Exploit, their default hasn't really been a default of sort, right? Usually the default involves couple of players outside of A, couple outside B, maybe one player outside of high mid, and they're just holding for Enigma pushes from any direction, to be honest. But Enigma also have stopped going ahead. These guys realize that TEAMXO are a lot more patient than they initially thought they were. And patience is key. After all, Enigma are on the defense, so they have absolutely no obligation to play aggressively. If they wait for team exploit and time runs out, there's like 30 seconds left. Ka has the Cosmic Divide. If he places it right, he can go for a plant and get back to safety as well. But none of those ultimates are used. They dash into the side on the back of just one flashpoint and a tailwind from Shooter. Getting the kills already. They have converted this into side control. Hunter's Fury now committed by Rexy of all people, hoping to deny the plant. It won't be denied, but at least he gets HSB, so that's great. HSB has been a thorn in the side. And with him out of the picture, things become a little easier. Of course, there is a reverse Hunter's Fury available, this time in the hands of King, and he can use that to destroy RVK's lockdown. But he ends up destroying RVK himself too, so that's a bonus.
That certainly is, but Team Enigma, they're going to disengage and they're falling back. TEAMXO, they actually made it work. Once again, they're adamant enough to actually execute the A side once again. This one was pure brute force. You talk about executing the set pieces in the last round, which eventually did not work. This time they go back to the basics, one flash and that's it's done. Antidote though will not retain his weapon, and this is going to be so huge for TEAMXO, because even if they get all the kills, I feel like the economy situation, which wasn't really good, this now gets even worse. TEAMXO, they just got even better. Now they have cash to work with as well. This is going to be an eco round, potentially an 11-11. Once again, we are basically playing the same game of chess over and over again. Enigma, they make a move. TEAMXO, they play catch up.
Yeah, and eventually they will catch up for good. Maybe even overtake Team Enigma. Now that Enigma are broken, TEAMXO have a chance to make the score 10-11. Hell, maybe even 11-11 if things go right. And once again, they're using the ace side. It's like their bread and butter. This is the most common thing that they have done. So far, they have adjusted successfully to the Enigma defense. But now that there's 4 players stacked over here, I don't know if they'll be able to overcome this one. RBK on a lurk towards mid. He's responsible for finding the remaining players of Team Exploit, hoping that there'll be someone else somewhere else. But nah, none of that happens. And all the players of Exploit on A should be able to defend this one. This round is done and dusted right here. The max that they can do at this point is hopefully get a kill or two. You know, keep the economy humble. If they break Team Exploit economy, that'll be great, but it's far from breaking.
Exactly, even that is not going to help, and neither is TEAMXO going to give them kills. It's a flawless for them. Of course, it was an eco round for Team Enigma Gaming, so you can't really blame them for that. But TEAMXO, the A side has been brilliant, like especially after that round where Team Enigma Gaming kind of shut them down. The last 2 rounds have kind of been really good. One of them was a buy round, one of them was an eco round. You can't really blame the eco round of sorts, but then the buy round was such a statement. This time though, Enigma Gaming, I just hope that they're going to be prepared for this. They have a default setup, and I love this. They're not really banking on that A side. They're not conditioned to TEAMXO hitting the A side multiple times over and over again. This time, they've got a fast B execute in our hands, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, the Rexy is stationed to kind of put up that recon dart, but I feel like the read has already come in from them. He doesn't need that recon dart to tell a story that this is going to be a B hit. Through the smoke, Soulmate will survive this time. The Ultron has given them some sort of information. TEAMXO, they're progressing even further, and they've almost got control of the B side. RVK will be pinched in. Shooter takes him out. Rexy gets absolutely destroyed with that shot dart, and there are 3 players left. Rawfield has a task cut out for him.
First step is to pre-fire across the right-hand side, but he dashes away. Enigma calling this one. They're saving, and they're not going for it anymore. This is going to be a tie. There's no way Enigma has money in the next round, so they would much rather hold on to the weapons that they've worked so hard to earn back. TEAMXO get this round for free. Not just that, they survive with all the players, and now almost everyone is on north of 8,000 credits.
Recalling my bot.
Yeah. 3 players surviving. TEAMXO going for the hunt. They know that this is going to be really big for them. If they get all those 3 players, this is basically a recipe for success. This is literally a win condition for them, and that is the reason why they're going for the hunt. But thankfully, Enigma, they survive, get all the 3 kills, and drop few weapons for them.
Yeah, and Exploit don't care if they lose their weapons. They can buy for days. There's 9,000 credits on Soulmate. Do you think he gives a shit? No, he doesn't.
The astral form?
Yeah, absolutely, he doesn't. 11-11 the score. But you know what, Team Enigma, they're literally scared right now because they did not expect Team Exploit to make comeback of this sort. Now, the second half has been very dicey for them. You see, there has been like back and forth of victories and losses for Team Enigma. And the timeline has there is literally no pattern in the timeline. One of the main reason why is the economy. I feel like Team Enigma, they didn't get the opportunity to get multiple buy rounds for them stick together. And that is one of the reasons why Team Exploit has been getting all these victories back to back, and they made a comeback.
Yeah, I mean, the only pattern that I see over here is that every time Exploit wins a semi-thrifty round of sorts, they break Enigma for good, and then they're able to string rounds together. That's the only pattern, because the last 3 rounds have been taken over by Team Exploit. These guys went from 8-11 to 11-11, and now Enigma has to respect them, has to take this tactical timeout and hope it works. Rotations need to be a lot faster from Enigma. It's been proven that Team Exploit, if they commit to the B side, they're going to go towards that direction. If they commit to the A side, they will go there. So at least Enigma now know that no matter what they show, what they do is going to be their final word and commandment. So if Exploit, if they're fast enough, and if Enigma are slow to the rotate, then they can still win. And maybe we can go to map number 3. Oh my lord. Here we go.
Team Exploit wants to play this. RVK completely destroyed. He was stunned. Rexy stunned as well. Shooter is gonna get all the kills, and he's never gonna miss them. But this is Enigma's last sword. They cannot give this up. Or are they going for a save once again? Yes, they are. Oh my word. This is map point. This is literally survival for Team Exploit, and they're also getting kills.
Enemy killed.
Gosh, raw fuel actually gets 3, but I mean, it does not matter for shots, but if he can save his rifle, I feel that.
Whoa, hold on. If he gets this kill onto King right now, he can go for the defuse right away. He might just be able to clutch this one out. He's boiled out the position of King. Recon dot also dodged. Now he's been revealed. He isolates the frag onto Shaka, almost on the verge of a 1v5. There's no time, and now no head. What a nail-biting round. The clutch almost came through.
Almost, but King was really composed over there. He kind of played for time instead of giving away his kill because he knew that Shaka was nowhere close to getting that spike had he died over there. But Team Exploit, what a monumental comeback this has been. 12-11 the scoreline, and it kind of looks like Team Enigma, they're facing the pressure. Raw fuel banking on that operator, 2 bulldogs in hand. Antidote has a vandal to work with, and Hika with a specter. This is trouble. This literally is a recipe for trouble. Team Exploit, they still want to do this. They want to go in for that aggressive fast push towards that A side. Basically, raw fuel's operator will be nullified if he gets pushed in by Shooter, and that is exactly what happened. He gets taken down, but Enigma's Hika Antidote as well as Rexy, they come together and they completely shut down this round. It's overtime, ladies and gentlemen, and I did not get a single hint of what happened. The round just finished like a flash.
Yeah, the only thing that helped Enigma was a well-timed rotation. The rotation was inbound the moment the first footstep from Enigma was heard over there. The moment they heard Team Exploit to its A side, they called in the guns. And this was a preemptive rotate, right? I mean, what if this was a fake? This would have been a big bamboozle. But they knew that Team Exploit are kind of one-dimensional that way, so they called in the rotations. All Byte defenders present over here. Yeah, sure, Raw Fuel died over there because he was holding a one-and-done angle of sorts. But because of the cloudburst that Shooter used over there, they banked on the top of it. And somehow, Hika and Antidote found more space to work with. They used Shooter's cloudburst against him, and they got so many kills.
This time, Enigma though want to do something of similar sorts, but they've got RVK towards the back lines. They've got 4 players in the A lobby. Team Exploit, they don't really make the same mistake again. They've got the mid present. They're trying to get some mid control as well. A lot of map control to work with. Exactly. Now they know exactly that this is going to be an A hit, but Team Enigma, they're not really one-dimensional of sorts, right? We've seen them do this. We've seen them kind of bait out all those resources and fall back towards the B side, but this time it's not happening. Shooter, he takes Raw Fuel down with the operator. That's 1 big player down already. falls back. But the rest of the team of Enigma, they actually move in. They take control of the side, but for how long, that is the question, because when this smoke disperses, the flash was well timed. King shuts down RVK. That's one important letdown another time. Enigma, they're basically losing strength, and with Soulmate coming in on this backstab, he can actually hurt even more. Yeah, this is done and dusted right now.
Definitely, unless Antidote pulls off a miracle, and speak of it, he pulls one off right now, and more to follow. Diffuse being stuck by King, he knows where Shaka is, but he cannot win the duel, and that is TEAMXO within the first round of overtime. This was telegraphed success. The fact that they were trying to push up mid, and the way they were holding it is so impressive. Shooter opting towards B link, there is a player from short covering him, making sure that no one from high mid covers him. And while all of that is happening, Soulmate pushed out of B, found nobody, and now TEAMXO knew that Enigma were going for an A hit. Enigma thought that they could pull off a same page from TEAMXO book. They thought that they could repeat the same thing. It just doesn't work that way. TEAMXO know how to counter a full 5-man A rush because they are so good at it themselves.
True, absolutely true. Antidote this time. Let's see what he can actually pull off. Will spot HSB, but HSB will take him down. That's important. Shooter makes his way deep inside me. Then there is nobody to check that. The defenses have basically been split up.
Yeah, but there's one very important thing. This is the first time TEAMXO are going mid. The first time they're moving in this direction. And there is no utility to stop them. No men either to check their advance. This Trailblazer finally finds a couple of people towards the mid region. So finally, Enigma have some information. But what do they do with it? There's 2 on A, 2 on B. The defense is split, and the mid area can be exploited. They can crunch onto anywhere they want. Once again, TEAMXO, like always, they will gamble towards the A side. That's their bread and butter, and they want to eat it once again. This could be a prisoner's meal, though. Could be the last meal that they taste in this map. Rafiel somehow keeping himself alive. Hasn't dashed to safety. Now he does. But he gets revealed. Could have been taken down by Shooter. Shooter extending, and Rafiel punishes him. Now it's a 3v3. Situation's back to normal. This could be yet another overtime.
This probably... I'm not really sure about it. Nice way to actually halt that retake. RVK will be pushed back as well. I feel like Rafiel and RVK can actually make a difference, but Rafiel, especially on 10 HP, this is gonna be really big. Shaka gets Rexy through the woodworks. Nice work over there. Rafiel finds the third one for himself. There's only one player surviving. That's gonna be Shaka being double peaked. RVK wins this. Enigma bring it back once again. 13-13. Nobody saw this coming. At 10 HP, this man still can frag. And he can still win rounds for this team.
Yeah, and the moment they killed the player towards A long, that's when the round became a lot more easier. Rexy getting that frag towards A main, this gave them all the information they needed. Later on, when Hika, even though he died, he knew because the last 2 players are towards the side itself, towards the green box. It doesn't matter if they don't have the numbers advantage, doesn't matter if they don't have the possessions. As long as they know where their enemy is, they can converge upon them and just make the trade happen. Enigma, though, I have to admit, this round came down to the wire. We'll need something really complicated, really advanced if they want to bamboozle TEAMXO now.
Exactly. I really want to see the approach, to be honest, because TEAMXO, they've been really good on the defense. They've been really good on the attack. It's literally like a teamwork. We've always talked about how the rest of the team kind of follows into the footsteps of Shooter, where he's the one who is fragging. But this time we've seen a team effort coming in from Shaka as well as King and Soulmate and HSB. All 5 players have been difficult to penetrate, and that is something which Team Enigma is suffering from, I feel. In a defensive sided round, you know that you've got to take duels in every single side, and when you know that there's only one fragger who is literally like the fragger for the team, it's very easy to kind of avoid him and go to the other side. But for Team Enigma, the real problem has been the rest of the players have been kind of filling in those roles as well, and they've been winning those gun duels.
Yeah, Shooter wants to win this gun duel though. He's the only man on the server with an operator. No armor on him, so this is a glass cannon. Soulmate reveals his position with the Vandal, and then Shooter with a lightning fast flick destroys RVK. That's the man who is responsible for keeping the backstab safe. Now, luckily for TEAMXO, I mean, luckily for Team Enigma, the spike hasn't been spotted yet. So they can still recover it, and Exploit don't know where the final hit will come through, but Shaka's already sensing that there's multiple people present over here. A dry peek from Antidote obviously results in his death, but Raw Fuel is quick to the trade. Still, the advantage lies with Team Exploit, and King waiting for the one way to fade. He's gonna peek ahead of the Nebula. Hikka has already taken care of his teammate on the site though, so even though they retain garden control, the site is lost. And with the door closing, I think they can go for a safe plant. Although the lack of a man advantage clearly indicates that Enigma need to go for something distinct right now. Blunt directly under generator. This will avoid the shock darts, which potentially could have come through from King, but he doesn't use them.
Yeah, the owl drone, really important in this one. I just want to see how long Shooter keeps his operator in hand, because he's the one who can actually change the game. The man who comes through, Raw Fuel gets the first one. Shooter once again, it comes out clutch, gets Raw Fuel. It's a 1v1 Sova versus Sova. Rexy peeks out. Shock darts to King, he tanks it. A lot of damage dealt. Playing time, Rexy jiggling out both the Sovas. They're literally dancing across the pitch. No! Oh wait, what? King, this is absolute disrespect. I did not see this coming, neither did Rexy. The classy comes through and the diffuse as well. TEAMXO, they win this on the back of some extraordinary performance from King.
Switching sides.
It was Rexy all over. He had that advantage, Crips.
Yeah, he had the advantage. Time in his favor, HP in his favor. King, good for only one bullet. That's all that was needed to kill him. But Rexy was never anticipating that King would push him in a situation like this with just a classic in hand. He could feel that King is running out of bullets too. And Rexy just wanted to buy some time. Never in a million years he thought that King would have had the audacity to push him like that, but he did. And it's the bold moves that make a difference.
The bold moves that make you heroes. The bold moves that make you win games from the lower brackets. But TEAMXO try and make something happen towards the B side. They've got that presence towards A, but they're not sending mixed signals. They're sending their approach straight. This is going to be a B hit. Stop us as you can. Shooter, of course, has made his way in. There is the gravity well. It's not going to do anything. Rexy just waiting inside, waiting for the player to funnel in from the side. But Shooter, of course, is quick on the trigger. Takes down Rexy. There's only one player left. That's going to be RVK. Even he's going to get taken down. TEAMXO on the verge of winning the map of Ascend. Are we going on to the third map? That's the question. Antidote comes back, kind of stabilizes the things for a little bit. 4v3 right now. Another player goes down. Raw Fuel gets Shooter. Raw Fuel is going to be the key in this one, but Shooter still finds Hika. It's 2v3 basically. Fault line gets nobody, but Raw Fuel will he be able to make his way towards side, especially with that presence towards B main. I really want to see if Team Enigma are going to check this angle. The flashes are there. Raw Fuel's position will be pinged. Everybody knows where he is, but Antidote finds 3 frags. It's literally a 1v1. He can get into a side and go for a defuse. He can get this half defuse done, but HSB, does he have the utility to force forward? It's 1v1. Antidote. HSB playing time. The wall not really helping him. HSB finding the final frag, and it literally is TEAMXO winning it out. This was a double overtime game, ladies and gentlemen, but this was action-packed as hell. HSB comes out clutch even after Antidote's heroics in the final round.
Oh my god, what an incredible game. A double overtime finish. That too after TEAMXO is already a map down by default. They make us go into the third map and they push Team Enigma to their absolute limits. There were so many rounds where Exploit went for a simple old A rush and it worked for them, because why not? They are just that good. Enigma tried to replicate the same thing, never worked out for them. Later on in the last overtime, TEAMXO decides, yeah, why don't we switch it up? We hit the B side, and surprisingly, they hit the B side without any of HSB's help, without the breach. Imagine going for a full-blown execute without a breach, and they're still successful. So that tells you everything you need to know about the supremacy of TEAMXO. Let's take a look at the highlights, because this match was full of them.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like a lot of these players, they've had their moments. They've had their clip moments as well. But this game was literally a psychological warfare. I felt like Enigma Gaming as well as Exploit, they kind of played with minds more than they played with their guns for sure. This was kind of like a gun battle as well. But when it actually came to approaches, Team Enigma and Team Exploit, they had the constant urge to sort of outshine each other. They had the constant urge to kind of outbrain each other, outmove each other, and that was the thing which kind of kept it very interesting, I would say. None of the teams were predictable up till the last end, but we have played like 28 rounds. It's really hard to kind of keep innovating and keep doing different things when you've played like so many rounds in one map itself. But both these teams kind of managed to do it. And I feel like that was the best part about it. Both the teams had their moments in the game. Team Enigma had a very big lead right at the start of the game itself, but just could not really finish the game in that fashion.
Yeah, they not only had the lead in terms of map, but also in terms of score at the end of the first half. And there was a point where Enigma was about to win, but Exploit mounting a massive comeback from 11-8 to 11-11 and then going all the way into overtime and winning it in such a stylish fashion. That is Team Exploit, just never willing to give up. All of the members stepping up individually when the time is right. King with his valuable shock darts and some very impressive kills. Shooter with the amazing AWPing. Soulmate with the timely lurks. And of course, HSB, a man of brute force and resilience. They all come together, make Team Exploit, work for it. They push Enigma to the limit. And of course, there were times when Enigma thought they had the edge, especially when they were able to win the pistol round of the second half. That kind of
Yeah.
indicated that they have the potential to make it 8-5, maybe even 9-5 if things went their way. And that's exactly what happened. But then Team Exploit started to run their engine down. They started to feed coal into it. And of course, when there is too much coal in the steam engine, it will overrun all its oppositions. It's almost impossible to stop, almost impossible to derail. And this is where the train really starts to pick up pace. One eco round victory from Team Exploit. They
Yes.
break the pack of Team Enigma, force them into a little bit of an economic crisis, something that they can never recover from. And Exploit, they use that to their advantage, make sure that Enigma never have enough resources to fuel the fire, to become hot enough to stop Exploit. And they were the ones who are just hitting all their shots. There were some really close rounds, I have to admit. Clutches from Antidote and Rexy. There were some really cool moments from RVK as well. But in the end, it was still Team Exploit, and they were able to win all day.
Exactly. I mean, in spite of those clutches, I feel like if you look at the overalls, if you look at the overall game, it kind of seems like Team Exploit won all those like crazy 1v1 duels. You look at HSB, you look at all the other players, you look at King, you know that like there is something about Team Exploit which just screams unpredictability. You just cannot expect what these guys are going to do, especially the way King pushed up onto
Yeah.
Erexi in the final moments
Wh-
of overtime. Like
wh-
it literally was that way.
Yeah, which is the opposite of what we said during the pre-show, right? We said the
Yeah.
Team Exploit were more predictable, but even when they were predictable, even when Enigma was 4 stacking, 5 stacking the A site, Team Exploit was able to win and they were able to brute force their way into the site on the attacking half. That's just how good they were. Enigma was able to predict them, but they couldn't predict exactly what utility would go where and what exactly will Exploit do. So, yeah, that's your answer. Having all odds stacked against them, a map lost by default because someone did not show up on time, Enigma having all the advantage in the world. They even had these rounds where there was a 5 stack from Enigma on the A side, like that last round, which pushed it into overtime. That's what happened. But even after throwing more numbers at them, Team Exploit were the superior ones, and I have no words about how good Exploit were able to use this ace site. It's just incredible how time after time they find this success over here. And it's hard to string together so many rounds on the ace side too, especially because it's such a very boring site. It's such a one-dimensional area. But you still find ways to bamboozle your opponents to make them throw away that advantage. And if Team Exploit can make Enigma do that, then they can make anyone do that.
Exactly, and this was the final moments of the game. Of course, nobody expect this to happen, right? King versus Rexy, King having all that advantage, him eating that shock dart, and like he even pulled out his utility, right? He had the recon dart in his arsenal, and he thought that King would be sort of respectful, this disciplined way of playing the game, of course, and that is what he probably predicted, right? He's gonna play time, he's gonna probably wait for me to peek out, and there's gonna be a healthy duel. Let me use some utility, but no, that's not happening. You just head straight up, take the fight to his face, and shoot him with the right click of the pistol. That is basically it. And Team Exploit, even though like their approach was sort of predictable, but their moves, individual moves when it came to dueling out, that was Perfect. With all that said and done, ladies and gentlemen, even though we had an unfortunate start to this best of 3 series, it's spicy as hell, and we're going to come back with even more action. We're going to come back after a very short break. Don't go anywhere.
from the legends of memory and storage. Crucial brings you the ultimate performance in gaming. Legendary products. Precision engineered. For speed and stability. Crucial ballistics.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back once again. This is LG Ultragear presents the Esports Cup Gauntlet Season 2 powered by Crucial. My name is Salty, with me is Cribs. We saw an amazing game right up front. Oh my god, nobody expected that, honestly. Team Exploit. What a comeback it has been against in Team Enigma Gaming. The first map was an automatic forfeit because Team Exploit could not show up on time. That is one of the reasons why you see the scoreline 13-0. It was really unfortunate, but it was a very hard decision for us to make. 15-13 was the scoreline next up. I'm just thinking what could have been if we actually played the game of Byte, how close it could have been. But nonetheless, keeping that aside, it's a 1-1 situation right now in this best of 3 series. Next up, we move on to the map of Split. What do you think, Crips? What is going to happen?
So, because this map was so close, I think Team Enigma have what it takes to win out on Split. This is one of the more favorable maps of Team Enigma, and let's be honest, I think Enigma is stronger on Split than they are on Ascent. The map veto from both these teams was very weird because Exploit banned out Icebox, which is one of their stronger maps, and then Enigma, they picked up Ascent. even though they are pretty damn comfortable on split already. So it's a little bit of a gamble from both of them. But going into the next map, I think Team Enigma already know what they need to do in order to win. They somehow started to adapt to Team Exploit's playstyle later on in the game. When they started rotating faster, when they started stacking the sites and trapping Team Exploit, they were able to win a couple of those rounds. But by that time, it was a bit too late. Let's see if the same tactic and the same philosophy applies to Split as well, or whether we'll see something different.
Yeah, the agent selection is up on your screen, ladies and gentlemen. Raw Fuel, no surprise there with the Jet. RVK, no surprise with the Viper. Hika is going to pick up the Sky. Rex is going to pick up the Cypher. And basically it. Antidote with the Astra, no surprises at all. On the other camp, I just want to see if they go with a double initiator composition. I don't think they will, but they can even go for a double controller setup as well. Everything comes down to what King and Soulmate want to pick up. At this point, both the teams are opting for a double controller setup, that is for sure. The Viper and Astra combination tried and tested. We've got a Sky, we've got a Jet as well. Absolute mirror lineups of each other. Just like the first map, we had only one difference in the form of the flasher, that was Breach and Sky. This time, we have the exact same lineups of each other. And I just want to know your thoughts. What do you think? The approach is going to be the same, because I mean, if you look at the way both Exploit and Enigma function, they're very different, but then in terms of agent composition, they're literally playing the same thing. So even though the set of abilities you use are the same, the approach is a little different.
Yeah, I mean, the approach from Team Enigma, at least in Ascent, was a little bit more one-sided. They were attacking the A side continuously again and again, sometimes switching it up with B, but they barely ever used mid. I think that's going to have to change in Split, because Split is a lot more reliant on mid control than it is compared to Ascent or something like that. So let's see what happens over here. If they only go for the brute force A and B pushes, then I think Team Exploit will be in a little bit of trouble on their attacking side. But luckily for us, they're starting on defense. So let's jump into the game and see what they have in store.
Yeah. For now, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be a pause, of course. Very funny with this game is actually there has been a lot of pauses, but with that out of the way, I'm pretty sure that Team Exploit, they really want to keep Enigma at bay, right? You talked about how good Team Enigma is on the map Split, and that basically means that for Team Exploit, the win condition would be to just stay in the game as far as possible. They can keep it 6-6, they can even make it 75 to their in their favor, and that is gonna give them one chance of winning. But I'm pretty sure Team Enigma, for them, the defense is much stronger than their offense, especially in this one, and that just screams volumes of what Team Exploit just gotta do.
Team Exploit must make sure that they are quick enough to rotate according to Team Enigma's pushes and at least gather information on what Enigma is doing. Because if you look at Enigma's spread out, it's pretty wide defaultish. They have two players stacked up outside of A, right, literally on top of each other, ready to trade, and the remaining three outside of either B or looking towards mid-market. Enigma are playing very passively, hoping for some mistakes from the side of Team Exploit. The moment we have Rafuel getting tagged, a flash comes through from the side of Hika, hoping to rescue Rafuel, and he was successful in doing so. So after showing some presence towards A ramps, Team Enigma, they are making it clear that they want to go towards B. The spike hasn't been spotted, so they can't place any bets just yet. But the aggressive positioning from the side of HSB on mid can be a difference maker over here. If he can hear footsteps of these people trying to rotate towards sewers, that could be very early telegraph information. And he did get the kill onto Antidote, but that was a
He almost got that.
Yeah,
he almost got a trigger discipline.
The trigger discipline moment was fine. He moved away from Antidote thinking he killed him, but he hasn't actually died, so it only results in one kill instead of two. But that's fine, I guess. It's still gonna be an A push, and the rotations from Team Exploit is here in time. Shooter with the wonderful one taps. Even if he dies, that's completely okay because the Cypher is there inside, ready to defend.
Toxin screen down.
Yeah, absolutely. RVK, though, his position can actually be the difference maker. He can come in from a backstab position, but he kind of chooses not to. Rex is there inside already. A triple kill for this man has absolutely been destroying the team. And then RVK, they're finally in the coffin. This man has always shot, has put some bullets in the opposition's brains this time as well. He does that, but You look at the way Team Enigma kind of move throughout the game, right? They kind of get that B appearance and then move towards mid, and they kind of very smoothly flow towards the A side. RB coming along the backlines as well. It was kind of well crafted and a well organized move. And Team Exploit, even though they kind of read that B push and then the mid push, they did not expect the A fluidity, and that was something which actually enabled Team Enigma to plumb the spike and get this round for them. But this time they've got the advantage, they've got the superiority as well. The weapons are there in their favor. King, the right click is not gonna work. The gravity well and the snake bite was kind of used as a safety measure, but they literally have the site completely broken open and they can plumb the spike with ease.
Everyone from the side of Team Exploit coming in from Suez. They pushed out of mid the moment they saw all these players of Enigma hit the A site. And they didn't find any lurkers towards B market. So that's important information from Team Exploit that they can use in the buy rounds. But for now, it's just a frag fest for Rafuel. Triple for him. More coming through from Heka. I'm pretty sure that he can win this duel against Shaka because he's not very healthy. Although Somin could have picked up a couple of guns if he came in from Suvers. Decides to opt in from the vent room instead. That's not a problem. The flash will detect his position, and now the jig is up.
Yeah, absolutely. And with the classic, I'm pretty sure he wouldn't be able to kind of deal more damage. Did dink him though, but Rexy still survives that and gets killed. But I feel like it's good job done for a Team Exploit in that one, because they've dropped a lot of weapons and at least they need to reinvest. They don't really have the money to, and as much as they can, break Team Enigma's bank. This time, Team Exploit, they're gonna come back with heavy weapons just like every single time. And this time, they're gonna hit back hard. This should be a potential first round for Team Exploit, but you've seen the kind of trouble that Team Exploit has been facing in kind of defending Team Enigma and reading their positioning. Once again, it was kind of the same thing. Even though they did come in from the backstab, the defense was proper. Team Enigma, they're not letting loose, they're not letting Team Exploit lose, and this is perfect.
Oh, a fast B push this time around. Viper utility making sure that the line of sight from Team Exploit does not exist. But still, instead of going towards the side directly for the plant, there's 4 people ready to peek them as soon as the Viper ball drops. Shooter still good for 2. King also chiming in with a few more. Somehow this round is still competitive. It's still a 2 versus 2. It's down to just him. Hiccup moving around the other side, gets the better of King. And this was a bonus round for Team Enigma. Exploit had the better weaponry this time around. But what a change of plans did Enigma go for. The fake dash from Rafuel indicating that he's going towards the side kind of made sure that Shooter is looking in his direction. But the moment that toxin screen dropped and there's 4 people in front of him, oh man, that's something straight out of a horror movie. Jump scares in real life.
You're probably going to be playing anonymous background music. But with that said and done, I feel like the third round for Enigma Gaming gives them a very big competitive edge in this map, because they're going to set up a very big lead. This should be an automatic 4th for them as well, but Shooter with his knives can potentially make a difference. Team Exploit, they're doing something different, trying to be aggressive towards the mid, but they're being very vocal about it as well. The flashes, as well as the sound cues, kind of talks about it. The first one down, that's a trade as well. Both Exploit and Team Enigma, they kind of get something on the back of that A push, but I feel like it's Team Enigma is the big one, because Hika is on a potential backstab. Anger and Rafuel, they come in with the big guns, all the kills flow. Rafuel and RVK put the final nails the coffin, 4-0, and no surprise there, absolutely.
Bodies hit the floor, Enigma get 4, and with that, they don't even lose too many weapons, so they still have more money. Team Exploit now looking to reset, looking for the 5th round, and they've got all 5 weapons available. In fact, 3 of the players have 5 ultimate points. It's kind of poetic, but consider this. All of them 2 points away from their ultimates. That's a Seeker, the Cosmic Divide, and the Viper Spit. That's the perfect retake combination. The only thing that could have made it even better is probably a lockdown from Killjoy, but there is no Killjoy in this game, so they'll have to make do with what they've got. Enigma have 2 ultimates as well. Rafuel's ultimate, probably not that impactful because he's got Vandal in his name, but Rexy's ultimate could be important. RVK down, no problem. They still have 1 more controller left in the form of Antidote, so they can still cover up their tracks. Although this default spread from Enigma means that they're not going for any bets just yet. They're not moving anywhere. We have Antidote already stuck in towards vent room, but he can move no further because a tripwire stands in his way.
Yeah.
If he breaks it, that's going to draw out the rotations from Team Exploit, and he's done it. Antidote broke the tripwire towards the vent room, and now he's going back up. Let's see how Exploit reacts to this.
Exactly.
At least they're not pushing out.
Team Enigma, they've been very, very unpredictable with their movement once they're trying to go towards a B side. Even if the tripwire breaks, I feel like Team Exploit, they don't really want to react too quickly, because if you do so, you kind of leave spaces on the map open. Rocky dashes in towards the B heavens area. Edge is being completely blocked off. No line of sight over there, but Shaka takes down Rawfield. Through the smoke, Rexy finds Soulmate. There's a dink as well. Hika, he knows exactly where one player is. And Rexy is going to be very, very carefully beating that angle. He doesn't even need to, because Hika comes in from behind. Anglo gets another one. It's final destination for Team Exploit. HSB with 33 HP can't heal himself up. Basically needs to fight this all over. This was supposed to be a buy round with Team Enigma. They played it to perfection, run down the clock, keep Team Exploit at bay, keep them guessing what is coming at them. And when it's time, just hit it with full force. I love the dash coming through. I love that composure, as well as the fact that they're confident enough to hit the B side completely with all that they've got. This was perfect coming in from Enigma.
Oh, and they don't even let it just be saved. That's the AWP taken away. Ah, the round and the money. They want them both. They're like bandits on the side of a road when you travel through an uncharted desert. They either ask you for your life or your money, but Enigma asks for your entire soul. And now Exploit have nothing left. Pennies and pocket lint for them. But I love the way how Enigma approached this round. First, it's Antidote breaking the tripwire towards mid. He telegraphed the information to Team Exploit that Enigma have mid control. So how do Team Exploit respond to that? They make sure that they focus on the sites instead of letting mid go. So now that they've let go of mid and they're only on the sites, what do? They focus all their attention towards A heaven and B heaven. When these players of Enigma start moving towards B heaven, there's a nebula put up just so that the players of Exploit can't shoot them from the heaven region. The only players who can have a line of sight of them are the players on the side. And Shaka did get a kill from the site default area. Of course, later on, the backup could not arrive on time. Enigma was doing a pretty good job of holding them back, especially Rofuel and Antidote. They were the firing squad over here, keeping sure that the rotators from Team Exploit are taken care of. And then later on, the remaining players just jumped down and finished off Shaka, who was alone on the B site without any backup, without any trouble. His call for aid unanswered. And with that, Enigma have 5 rounds now. A big lead for them. That too on the attacking side of Split. Many people believe that Split is a defensive-sided map. I kind of don't agree with it. I think it's somewhat fair, but still, it leans a little in the favor of the defenders, at least on paper, but now it's just Team Enigma winning everything. And 3 players have been revealed. Even the spike spotted towards the A side. Get no rotations from Team Exploit on the way. And that's a free entry towards A.
I mean, even if reinforcement comes in, it's basically a death trap for them, because right now you basically have fighting guns, Team Enigma absolutely rock and rolling towards the A side. All these players completely unaware of positioning. Wonderful positioning from Rocky and RVK, as well as a get further kill. Shaka, 1 frag for this man on the raw field, but that is basically 8 RVK. Wonderfully done. Now you see, basically it's 6-0 for Team Enigma. We talked about a huge lead. Split is such a momentum heavy map, Crips. It's very difficult to win your eco rounds, and that is something which is really troubling Team Exploit at this point. They can't seem to get their economy back on track. They can't seem to get those resources up and running for long enough so they can string together a comeback in this map itself. And if Team Enigma can keep hurting Team Exploit where it actually hurts, I feel like this lead which we have set up already is gonna blow out of proportion already. Shaka is pushed up deep towards garage. He knows exactly that not a lot of people check this angle, and RVK doesn't as well, but he missed the shot and he kind of gives away his position. Rockfield though gets shooter. That is he operated out. The flash comes through as well, but Enigma kind of find a way to find frags even if the flashes are perfect.
Oh, the rescue attempts from Team Exploit not really bearing fruit. At least Soulmate can take off a couple of kills. Antidote obviously brings it right back. And King now looking for his lost crown, looking for at least 1 round, but nothing will come his way.
He has a hat though that he can take off, but
yeah, that's no crown. And Rexy is holding an off angle. He checks it. That's a Cypher diff right there. Maybe a comeback is possible. He doesn't take off his hat to check off Rexy's body and reveal the remaining positions, but he's aware that there could be two people over there. Tries to go for the pre-fire, but gets instantly triple feet.
There was no way he was surviving that crossfire. It was a death trap. It was literally his name written on the death note. But 7-0 lead for Team Enigma. This is too brutal of a scorecard, to be honest, because at this point I'm not even sure what can TEAMXO possibly do, because they've done everything in the arsenal, and Team Enigma, they've mixed things up well. They've done aggressive pushes, they've done slow and composed fakes, they've done their fakes properly, they've used mid as a very nice national highway to kind of funnel their way towards the A or the B side as well. And at this point, I don't know, shooter with a sheriff still checking that angle, but there is no one. Most of the players from Team Enigma, they are towards that, funneled up towards that A.
Toxins going up.
And they're not even moving. A minute into the
I've
round,
got your trail.
and Enigma have made no moves. Seekers come through, Soulmate blind, King trying to help him out. And he pushed through the cyber cage. King now looking for the person who teased him first.
Taken out.
And Hicka, he's the one who knows how to give us a nice climatic ending. Raw fuel up in rafters, up in heaven.
Concealment.
Enigma already at 7, looking for 8. But is this fate calling upon TEAMXO? Can they find a way to win this round? Can they channel their hate through this one and move into
Downwind.
the next stage of this tournament? Or is this going to be
Last
the
player
end of the line for them?
One enemy remaining.
Oh my god, now. How do you deal with this? If you're in TEAMXO's shoes, how do you deal with this? You got Shooter on the op. He's got armor too this time. We've seen him pull off glass cannon moves. So hopefully he can find some success over here. Looking towards mid, Shooter won't find anything, and Enigma have gone for a split approach once again. Spike down in the sewers. 2 people outside of A looking to find a pick, or maybe some information if nothing else. The others just outside of market. Enigma have always been very cautious. They've always played very slowly, making sure that if TEAMXO push out at all, then those pushes will be punished. But this time, Rexy finally taking initiative without the backup of his fellow Sky. He's gonna be killed. RVK sneaking in. The Toxin screen still has plenty of fuel left, so he can at least get towards the corner of sight before he's finally forced to move. Oh, but his teammate's taken down. Raw fuel has now nothing left. RVK will run into a trap fire, and that's going to be the end of him. HSB getting the better of this deal. The spike luckily still in the hands of Enigma, so at least they haven't lost control, but they have lost most of their members, which kind of pins the tides against them.
Blocking vision.
Now, Exploit finally have a chance to win one round.
30 seconds
Have a
left.
little bit of fun, maybe some success found. Trapwire once again. Antidote doesn't want to set it off yet, and he jumped over it. The jump sound cue. It's available to Shooter. He sees 2 people at once. He gets only one of them. But Antidote now has to go back, retrieve the spike, and plant it in 14 seconds. Yeah, that's not happening. This round is done and dusted. I just hope Antidote dies in time so that he doesn't take the saving penalty. 8-1. Finally, TEAMXO, they open up shop. They have at least something in the bag now, so this isn't going to be a flawless half from Team Enigma. No 13-0 dreams over here. They've already got a default win already, so no more getting all these free rounds again. TEAMXO, though, they must win this next round. If they do not, then their economy will probably be heading for a reset. Luckily, Exploit managed to save 3 weapons from the previous round, so they have some money left on to shoot in an HSP, but Raw Fuel doesn't give a quarter. He's dashing all the way up. The flash is perfect from Hiccup, and now Shaka's dead. That's a very important player because he had the Cosmic Divide. Would have been a very important tool for the retake situation, but HSP still has his Seekers online. If he wants, he can pop them and gather information, but King holding a very aggressive angle without any backup gives me the jitters. This could be him potentially dying over here if he gets double, triple peaked. Raw Fuel's already detected, so the Seeker finding him doesn't really give any information extra to Team Exploit that they didn't already have. But Rexy, on hell did he just do? He gets 1 kill, that's understandable, but lining up 2 in a row, now that is ridiculous. Shooter back for 1, but now it's a Viper versus a Cypher, and Rexy has what he needs. Camera placed, Soulmate knows exactly where Rexy is, but does Rexy know? Yep, with the camera, he must have found out. The Cyber Cage buying him a little more space to work. But he's not looking in the right direction. Soulmate missed his opportunity. Camera attack comes through, and Rexy always pulling out the utility at the worst time possible. Pulling out the bow in that 1v1 clutch last time. Pulling out the camera this time against Soulmate. 1v1s are just simply not going his way, and I kind of feel bad for them.
True that. But then again, I feel like for Team Exploit, this was really big because it's one thing to break momentum, but it's one thing to actually use that break of momentum to use your own and build your own momentum as well. And that is exactly what Team Exploit is doing. If they can get 4 rounds in this half and they can make it 8-4, they can still potentially pull out a comeback in the next half as well. Right now, it's important to use this top in momentum against Team Enigma because there's also a factor in mindset as well. Team Enigma, they were kind of steamrolling out of competition with Team Exploit. They put brakes on that. That is going to hurt them. That is going to hurt them real bad, and Team Enigma want to hurt them even further. This is just a recipe for destruction, and if Team Exploit can do this perfectly, there is going to be problems. Once again, Shooter kind of falls back a little bit. This approach is kind of different. 3 players on the A side, 2 towards B. Trips, what do you foresee?
Recipe for disaster, and I'm no Gordon Ramsay, but Shaka, he tries to go for some fancy moves. Rexy with the cool footwork, and the footwork gets him the information on at least 1 player. Does he know that there's another one over there, right around the corner? This Toxin screen from the side of Team Exploit, it's way too aggressive. It's been put up from A ramps, and this extends not just towards mid, but goes all the way in towards market. So on the back of this Toxin screen, Team Exploit can play a lot more aggressively. But somehow they're not doing so, which is fine. I respect that. The Toxin screen put up by RVK, on the other hand, it allows them to sneak up towards A ramps undetected. Shooter still spots them, but now with the Toxin screen up, he doesn't have a line of sight on them. A Viper Spit deployed in A heaven. Okay, that's new. A Cosmic Divide too? Yeah. What's going on? I have not seen Enigma do this before, and I kind of want to see how it pans out. I can't predict how this will work, but Rockwood doesn't give a damn about him getting tagged in the trap fire. He still goes for it. They need to deny the plant though. Just 9 seconds left, and they could have stopped the plant from happening if the gravity well was placed properly. But this is a very unique execute from the side of Team Enigma. A Viper Spit on Heaven is something that I've never seen before. Forget the Viper Spit. I can understand him deploying the Viper Spit over there just to block out the rotations, but that Cosmic Divide?
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to look at the replay for that one.
Basically, the Cosmic Divide only shuts out the A main territory. That's
not even that. Not even that. All it does is stop the players in screens from coming through. That's pretty much it. So you've got the Viper Spit in A heaven. You've got the Cosmic Divide covering screens. I would say that, you know, your ultimates could have done a lot more, but considering this is the last round and Cosmic Divide is not an ultimate that you use every now and then, they use it to make sure that Team Exploit's rotations don't come through. I think that's pretty good. They can exploit more value out of their ultimates, but given the situation they're in, I think that was brilliant usage. Much rather to actually use the ultimates rather than take them home. Because we saw that yesterday, you know? Enigma versus Velocity, and Velocity, they ended the half with like 3 ultimates remaining unused. So it's better that they use it now, so it's improvement.
Yeah, true that. But one dagger went by, flew by real close. Trays happening here and there. Both the teams losing bodies at this point, but Rexy He's still checking cameras. He still wants to get this kill, but Shooter, he still presses forward. This is going to be interesting duel once again. I feel like Team Exploit, this is an eco round for them. This is not an eco round, but Shooter actually does this. He takes off his hat as well. This was sort of an anime battle where the Jet was a spider that was caught in his own web. King as well as Shaka, they're quick on the trigger as well. Hika will use the flash but will fall back immediately. It's 2v3, but Team Enigma, can they make this 10-2? Because I really don't want to see the score like 93.
This is such an unfortunate scene. Team Exploit going aggressively towards A main, trying to retain control of that region, but what do Enigma do in return? They come in from B heaven. Oh, the retake from Saka and Soulmate. It's still on point. So Team Exploit still win this one, but I could have seen this round go south very quickly, very fast. First of all, RVK died by going towards the A side through that Viper's Pit. I understand. You have to sell some bodies to the A side. You have to sacrifice that to sell the fake. But then, after they realize that RVK is the lurk, and if he's speaking towards the A side, then something must be happening on B. Team Exploit had the correct read over there. They tried to push B main, and they found just Rexy and his trapfires. But how Enigma exploited that is by going towards B heaven and then getting control of the site. So they know that they can't take post-spawn positions inside of B main, but that doesn't matter to them. They hold the sites, and they thought they would be good enough to hold it. Then, of course, Shaka and his teammates came through with the retake. So that's a 9-3 half, and Exploit at least have something to show. And we know what happens on 9-3. If you're superstitious, this means that a comeback is on the cards.
Pulling them in.
For sure. A nice gravity well over there. Catches a lot of these people, but Raw Fuel just can't really find him through the screen. But Antidote is going to find them. Instead, it's going to be Shooter find Antidote and his head as well. All of these players will be stabilized by HSB, but right now, Team Exploit, they're really strong. At this point, I feel like they can kind of violate the A side as well. They can also violate mid as well as kind of B, especially with Shaka's positioning over there. They've already made their way towards A heavens, but that is not where they're going. This is nice stuff. But will the Viper from Team Enigma know that this is coming?
I'm really sorry to cut you off, Salty, but there is a trap fire inside of that vent room which has been broken by the side of Team Exploit. And now that the kill Raw Fuel, things are stabilized, because if they did not kill him, then their telegraphic position towards A heaven would be very well known to Enigma, and they could have countered it. At least now that they have the kill on Shaka, the lurker from Team Exploit is dead.
Team Enigma, though, for them the retake is going to be really difficult. RVK comes in from main, but Rexy tries to kind of work on the trade. They're clearing out all those corners meticulously, but Shooter's going to find a frag. Shooter finds another one, quad kill for him. He's still looking for the ace. Hika, what can he potentially do? Blocked by the poison cloud, guarded by 3 or 4 players. King looking straight at him. Can't really do anything over there, can he?
The best that he can do is not die to Shooter and deny the ace, maybe? Yeah, that's what you're looking for. No more ego points for you, I guess.
Especially with the frenzy, he was always supposed to win. But for the side of Team Exploit, this is a good thing, because when a 9-3 half kind of kicks in, the first thing which you need to do in your checklist is going to be win your pistol round and win the round after that. The round difference suddenly becomes 4, right? When you trail by 4 rounds, it's not that big of a deal. You can still mount a comeback, especially with Split being a momentum heavy map. The economy is always going to favor you if you kind of win continuous rounds. Getting eco frags is difficult on this map. 4 rounds a trail is not that big of a deal.
Oh, big guns coming out from Team Exploit already. Phantom in the hands of Shooter, minus the heavy shields. Could be an expensive loss if he dies over there, and if somehow Enigma were to recover this weapon. RVK, the smoke fades, and so does Shaka's life. The flick shot from RVK connecting straight to the dome, and that's a good pickup. Without Shaka, getting into the B side can be a little bit more difficult because they only have the utility of Soulmate. And a 3-stack on B side means the trap will spring. Shooter still has the big gun, so he can continue to do what he does best, decapitate the enemies. But Enigma steal the momentum from them, and now they steal their weapons as well.
You shouldn't have said that it would be an expensive loss, because I feel like Team Enigma heard you.
Caster's Curse?
Probably.
I'm used to it.
4-10 the scoreline, ladies and gentlemen. And at this point, this kind of gets a little tricky because once again, a supposed lead which Team Exploit were supposed to have has been snatched away by Team Enigma. They absolutely destroyed Team Exploit right at the start of the game, and right now
Get out of my
they're
way.
playing with the momentum once again. They've broken the momentum and they're kind of avoiding disaster by not letting Team Exploit come back. This is what they kind of failed to do in the map of Ascent. Hika gets Shooter, and I'm pretty sure economy is not in their favor. Shooter kind of paid because of the fact that he heavily bought in that last round, just like Crips mentioned, but Team Exploit gonna do something different. They've got that presence towards A, they've got the presence towards mid, they've got the presence towards B, but the B presence has been taken down, so you're basically a bird with one less wing.
Oh, and that's what
Think that you
happens
had
when
it.
birds get their wings clipped. They fall to the ground. At least they do so in grace.
Enemy remaining.
Yeah. But not King, because RVK could easily take him there. Right now, Shaka, as soon as the smoke dissipates, Rexy's gonna find him, and that would be the end of it all. 11th round for Team Enigma, and it is kind of a little too difficult for Team Exploit to come back, because as much as I remember, the scene on the map of Ascent was not this brutal for them. It was still 6-9. It was probably when they started to mount their comeback. 4-11 is a little too much.
It is indeed. Now, with Enigma already reaching double digits and them having quite a lot of money in the bank, I think they will be fine even if they lose this round. They can afford to let Team Exploit come close. Of course, they wouldn't want to let that happen, but they can afford to let it happen. They have enough money in the bank. 5,000 extra credits on Antidote and Hika. Just a little bit close to 3,000 for Raw Fuel, Rexy, and the remaining members, RBK. Early utility towards B Heaven, not really resulting in anything. Counter Trailblazers from Hika will probably give HSB a little concussion, and Raw Fuel now relieves him of the pain. Just King left. Can he once again get his crown? Can he win this round? He knows Hika's coming in from
1v1.
behind, but he still can't make it find. It's just not happening. He just cannot find the frags.
Match point.
Can't find success. 12-4, and Team Exploit on the verge of elimination.
Yeah, it's kind of sad, but then again, I feel like this could have been very close had we played the map of mine. This seriously could have been close. But this map has been Enigma. This map has Enigma written all over it. Every single encryption that you see on those walls, it is literally Enigma. It is reading Enigma right now. 12-4. One more round, pardon me for that, before they can actually progress further and eliminate Team Exploit. RVK all by himself. He does have the support of the Sky with him, but he's gonna fall back as well. I feel like Team Exploit wanna aggress towards that mid region, but they literally have the same strategy. They've got that Prince towards A, they've got that Prince towards B, and 3 players in mid. The spike is dropped, so even if that make their scent, it literally is not gonna mount to anything else. They can get some frags, and then they can reconsider on which side to exploit.
Slow and steady wins the race. But
Yeah.
what if they don't get off the starting line? Team Exploit have lost a minute, and they have nothing to show for it. No information, no control on mid. They even lost King. So what do they do now? Shooter liberating some pressure, but RVK doing his
down
best.
mid.
That's the spike spotted. Now the rotations can start coming in from the side of Enigma. And take a look at where Antidote is. He's already inside Supers, ready to go for the backstab. If
Nice.
Rexy can hold on over here, that would be great, but
Spike
somehow Soulmate has liberated that. He's got the site in control, but the spike is out in the open. It will be difficult for him to retrieve it. Not anymore, as he's got the toxin screen. He's jiggling around it, hoping that he can isolate these 1v1s and at least kill someone before he has to plant, but no quarters given by Enigma, and they win 13-4.
This was all Enigma, to be honest, because they did not even have a chance. You look at the statistics, you look at the stats. It's Enigma, Raw Fuel, Rexy, Antidote dominating that kill feed. It's not just about strategy as well. Like on the map split, they had the advantage of winning the duels as well, which was sort of even Steven's playground on the map for Send. This one was all about Enigma winning all those frags, getting on the right side of the trades, using the utility right. And in their attacking half, Enigma, they absolutely dominated. In the defensive half, when we thought that there could have been a comeback string together, even that was broken down.
Yeah, the comeback was broken down. There was a little chance that Exploit could have used, but they missed it. And that is Team Enigma knocking them out of the tournament. Enigma move forward in the lower brackets, but we'll take a look at that later after the highlights. There were some really cool highlight worthy moments from Team Enigma. Multi kills by RBK, Hika shining through with his flashes, Raw Fuel getting set up for success so many times. There were some really cool frags by Shooter too, but I kind of feel like his teammates were not able to live up to what Shooter was doing. If you take a look at the scores, Shooter had 14 frags this game. His teammates not anywhere close to him, not even inside double digits. Whereas from the side of Enigma, there is not a single player who has KD of less than one.
Yeah, true that. And if you look at these rounds, you would know that Team Enigma, they had their presence all over the map. It kind of looked like they were playing with like 6 players instead of like 5 against Team Exploits 5. Just because of the fact that they could maneuver well, their fluidity was absolutely insane. We saw one round where they had shown their presence towards the B side, then they moved towards the then they moved towards the mid where they got a frag, and then they moved once again towards the E side, which was brilliant. And then all in all, it was like the mix up. The mix up was perfect. A side, mid, B side, they switched it perfectly. The executes were brilliant. They were getting duels. What more do you need to win a game of Valorant? I don't think much, but like, I wouldn't know because I don't win games of Valorant. Crips would know better.
Oh, I have to tell you, Salty, I admire your knack for self depreciative humor, but I think uh, about self depreciation, though. There are some rounds where RVK gives himself too less credit for what he did. He wasn't all that flashy this game. He wasn't getting too many kills, but at least what RVK was doing is going into the places nobody else would to make sure the team exploit are always bamboozled. He will be the one playing the risky positions. He will be the one biting the bullet for the team, often in these one and done spots. So you can't expect much from RVK, but you have to admire that he's willing to, sacrifice his own life just so that he can get his team the win. And if you take a look at the numbers over here, almost everyone on the side of Team Enigma, hell, not even almost everyone, literally everyone on the side of Enigma have more kills than deaths. For Team Exploit,
Yeah,
Shooter is the only person in double digits, and everyone else on single digits.
yeah.
What can I say? I guess
And
Team
that's it's
Exploit just were not able to hit their shots sometimes. Maybe the trades did not go in their favor. And several times, Team Exploit found themselves rushing into a site without too much to go on. We're not able to accomplish a
yeah.
lot of information, not able to accomplish a lot of map control in the early stages of any given round. And that kind of came to bite them in the butt later on.
Exactly. I feel like this literally was like two sides of the same coin. I would say Team Exploit, they were all over the place. All over the place in a messy way. Team Enigma, they were literally all over the place, but in a much more composed way. All over the place by being they were literally controlling the entire map. They had all the real estate to work with. And with everything said and done, Team Exploit just did not find the space to work through. They had no space. Their executes were kind of very rookie-ish, I would say. And with like you look at the map video, right, you would know exactly what happened. Ascent was in a situation where Enigma could have won it, but they kind of let loose. They kind of stretched their legs a little bit on the final third of the game where Team Exploit actually picked up and win and got their victory as well. It was a double overtime game. The first map was sort of unfortunate. Team Exploit had to forfeit. There was no 13, so there was no game at all. And when it actually came to the decider, Team Enigma, they knew they had to win, and this was their map. they had they basically run road rollers over Team Exploit, and that was basically it.
Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is unfortunately the end of Team Exploit's journey here in the TEC Gauntlet Season 3. Let's take a look at the bracket and see how this affects the overall tournament. We will see Enigma going up against their next opponents in the lower brackets soon, and that opponent is going to be the winner of True Rippers versus Team Valor, a match that is going to be happening at 8 p.m. today, so make sure you don't miss that game. And one of these teams, either True Rippers or Team Valor, will go ahead and face Team Enigma in the lower bracket. Now, the winner of that game will probably face the loser of Velocity versus Team EXO, and then
Yeah,
winner of that game goes to the grand finals. So this means that we are now heading towards the last stage of the tournament. The match of True Rippers versus Team Valor will determine the top 4 teams of the tournament. And that's going to be happening at 8 p.m. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so that you do not miss any update about when we go live. And also, mark your alarm clock. Make sure that you tune into the game at 8 p.m. and you do not want to miss this one, because this is going to be the game that decides the overall top 4 of the tournament. We've seen top 4 in multiple other groups, in groups A and B, but now this is the whole tournament at stake. And of course, this being the lower bracket game, one of these teams is going to go, oh, the stakes are as high as they can be. And you need to be right here at 8 p.m. So make sure that you hit the subscribe button. And of course, share the stream with your friends as well if you're having fun. Thanks for watching the LG Ultragear presents TEC Gauntlet Season 3, powered by Crucial, apparel partner 6x6, accessories partner Cosmic Byte, and our esports partner is Aimlab. We'll see you again in a few hours.